This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 620 for September 9th, 2019. Time moves when you shriek.
Super not.
Insert goat scream here. You know what one I'm talking about.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
Patreon.com/E1M when the ones are numbers. Had a hell of a conversation on Outcast this week, so if you want to know what we've been watching and what makes us throw up, and see if they're related, Patreon.com/E1M1.
Better advertisement you could not find.
I can't sell that one any better than that. With that out of the way, Moonpeer, what have you been playing this past week? I suspect that 3 of your games are all 3 of the games on my list.
Ooh, interesting. Hold on, let me figure out what the... No, I don't have a game that I know you have. I haven't touched that game yet.
Aha, okay.
You
so I will have something to talk about.
Weirdly enough, you have an Xbox exclusive that I haven't played. What crazy world do we live in these days?
That is a bizarro world here.
Yes. Okay, so we'll start with Dead by Daylight.
Naturally.
It was more like Xbox was Dead by Friday, though, because... Yeah. Oh boy, was Xbox having issues like Friday night into Saturday morning.
Yeah. That was when it was... Service was intermittent.
Yes. Which roughly worked out as I managed to get signed in, and I refused to turn my console off even when I was going to do other things.
Smart.
Because I had to sit there and watch my wife go through the rigmarole of trying to sign in for hours.
It's like WoW when the queues are bad. Mm-hmm. Just fire up that macro that moves your character around a little bit and go get some dinner, and
exactly.
You don't want to hit the queues again.
Exactly. So I did play a little bit of it. Mostly I played solo just because I had a bunch of dailies that I wanted to get done, which I did. And nice. Now I'm literally at the point where I'm like, what do I spend blood points on? Like, I've got all of this red stuff, and I don't know what to do anymore.
Right.
Like, it's really weird, but yes, Dead by Daylight. I played it a little bit. I did my dailies, no big deal. Okay. Honestly, I don't know what order to go in here because I've got a couple of crossover ones, which I think we're gonna hold. I'm gonna hold till the end.
Yeah, you don't want to start with the crossover.
No,
event.
we don't want to. We don't want a 40-hour discussion about why Spider-Man is terrible.
Right.
Apex Legends. They very quickly after their last event, they have a new event. They
Void something?
Yes, I can't remember the name of it. It might be Void Runner. I'm not sure. But it's based
Void Walker, Void Crawler.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
we'll just call them. And my mind went blank. My wife is in chat, so she can fill this in for me if you guys can't get it. The teleporting mutant from X-Men, please.
Oh my god, as soon as you said it, it just like, it bamfed out of my brain.
It was literally in my head, and then the second I went to say it, it vanished.
Nightcrawler,
thank you.
Oh god. Okay.
Yes.
Now I feel better.
It might as well be the Nightcrawler event, but yeah, my wife points out in chat, it is the Void Walker event. Okay. So for these new events, they've started slowly changing the map a little bit, taking a little bit of a thing from Fortnite. So with the Octane event, which was the last event that they, or the last character-themed event that they did, there was a bunch of dead space, so they just introduced this Octane Arena, which feels like a Tony Hawk level because it's just a bunch of jump pads and ramps and a flaming loop to go through.
Awesome.
So like that's a cool area, and it's always chaos because it's got high-tier loot. So everybody goes there, and it's always absolutely bonkers. With this new Void Walker event, there is... The character Wraith in the game can create portals, so she basically can create a portal, then you've got like 60 seconds to run as far as you can or whatever, close the portal, and then anybody can run through the portal and then get basically fast travel zipped to the other end of the portal.
Exactly how I thought that item would work in Risk of Rain 2, and it did not.
So what happens instead is now they have this giant portal in the sky that's leading to this underground bunker kind of thing.
Oh.
And it's just it's the most chaos-filled area ever, because usually if people go in the portal, they're directly above it on the flight path. They go in it, and then next thing you know, you've got 25 people come out of this portal at the exact same time, and just specials going off, smoke's getting dropped, caustics getting thrown everywhere. Like, it's absolute
That's awesome.
anarchy. I mean, it's fun, but it's absolute anarchy.
Sounds like a party.
Yes.
Yeah.
With this comes a new game mode. They had solos previously.
Ooh.
Now they have armed and dangerous.
Okay.
Do
you have a shark gun?
You don't have a shotgun. It's all shotguns, all snipers.
Oh, okay. So the old Halo shoddy snipers.
There is no SMGs, no LMGs, no assault rifles, no pistols, no nothing. It's all shotguns and sniper rifles.
Okay.
The loot has been toned down, so it's almost impossible to find a body shield.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
Everyone is super vulnerable straight from the get-go. Like, even endgame, if you find a body shield, you are lucky. When you get to, like, the last 3 squads and you have a shield, you're like, yeah, I've got one up on everybody else right now.
Right.
But it's fun because it's kind of hard to get kills with shotguns in that game if you're bad with them. Hands up if you are, that's me.
Yeah, that's my hands going up too.
But
I'm bad with every shotgun forever.
yeah, me too. I think the only one I'm not bad with is the Doom one. And that's because it's the super shotgun, and it's kind of hard.
That's because
it's hard to be bad.
You just push it into a demon's face and pull, like,
Yes.
and they just go. Psst.
It's hard to be bad with that shotgun. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You don't even need to get that close. You just literally aim in the general direction, and things just jib all over the place.
So good.
But no, the Armed and Dangerous event's actually pretty good. Kind of fun to be like running around and just doing stupid stuff all the time. So played a fair bit of that. It's got a new event. It's got new rewards, new specials, new unlocks, new all kinds of stuff. And they're talking now about some of the new cosmetics they're going to be introducing soon. When you select your character on it, everybody has the same character animation and then say whatever random line they're going to say. It's like usually...
Oh, in the character selection screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently some of the new cosmetics that they're working on are going to have custom animations for that character select screen. So if you have a specific cosmetic on, you can have that specific animation, which is cool.
That's cool.
It's more content that they can sell that I don't have to buy that doesn't affect the way the gameplay works.
Exactly. So. And some, 2% of whales will help fund that game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said the word whales and that immediately made me think of community member Billisford. We play Strike Force together. One of the guys in our clan bought Mr. Fantastic like the second he became available, and Billisford in chat just wrote ooh, and it wrote, sorry, that's my best whale impression underneath it.
How expensive? Wait, hold on. So Mr. Fantastic is in Marvel Strike Force. I haven't played Marvel Strike Force for a while. I'm going to assume that a raw purchase of that character was $35.
That would not surprise me. I don't know. I refuse to look.
Okay. Curses.
the same person bought Mysterio when he became available, and Mysterio was the big 5-0. So,
yeah, because when I started, I remember like a couple days after the game came out, they're like, "Hey, we got Black Panther's in the game." Heck yeah! And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. It's $45. I'm sorry, that's not okay."
Yep, and that's usually for like a 3 to 5 star version of it, but. If that's how you choose to spend your money, then that's how you choose to spend your money. Good.
I would just buy a game.
But no, Apex is Apex still. It's fun. It's stupid. They've done a really fantastic job of maintaining They have differentiated themselves, I feel, from the other battle royales because that thing moves. Like that thing is. Even if you're in a long game, like movement-wise, it still has the Titanfall feel, and that Titanfall feel is amazing. So,
well, it's nice to hear too that they are putting in more events because I feel like that first season of the game
it had
was,
like one.
Yeah, like it obviously they were just getting set up and they're bug fixing and all that stuff, so it felt a little dry, but it's nice to see, even if these events aren't going to be game-changing like Solos was, it's nice to see that they're at least focused on a character for a couple of weeks. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And Wraith's outfit, like, she's got a custom outfit for this mode that you can unlock. I swear it looks like Mass Effect armor. Like,
that's awesome.
You should take a look at it because it looks really cool. It's like a spacesuit. It's got the golden visor on the front of it that looks like Mass Effect armor. Downside is they have promotional images where the visor's flipped up and you can see her face, and I would prefer that version rather than the visor down version. But it looks straight out of Mass Effect. And
boy, 100%. Like, between Mass Effect and Anthem, like that's what this armor looks like.
Yep,
looks pretty cool.
Yes, it does. But you know, I like Apex. I will keep playing Apex. Shout out to my homies, my wife and Em, for constantly dealing with me being terrible.
Right.
My wife has to do it though. She's legally obligated to.
Right.
Okay, moving on from Apex. My next game, Supermarket Shriek. I continue playing this game. I did some research. Boston, you can play this game with a microphone.
Okay. Great.
There is an achievement for playing this game with a microphone.
In co-op.
Okay. And it's called, like, the neighbors were such big fans of yours because you have to literally yell into the microphone to get the thing to actually go around.
I totally forgot to install this week. Let me fire up the Xbox Game Pass app on my mobile device.
You should, because that game is really, really fun. It suffers from the classic puzzle racing game kind of thing, which is to say, it's easy, brick wall.
Right.
Like, it goes that severe. Like, towards the end, it's just like, I have to nail this perfectly in order to actually get through this section. Like, when you're literally on a trolley and getting boiled alive by these giant cooking hobs that you're riding over. It's a little bit insane.
Yeah.
But the game...
Also, I like that their company's name is Billy Goat Entertainment Limited.
And I did not
really
know, but they also made Her Majesty's Spiffing, which is ironic because that is on the Game Club voting list for this month. Which
That's right.
Makes me laugh. So, yeah, I like this game a lot. It gets real hard at the end. So when you get to that point, if you're not going to push through and go for the full gamer score, that's fine. Don't just give up and go play something else. Yeah. I mentioned the previous secret I found, which was the Sonic the Hedgehog reference. I don't have 2, so I found 3 secrets. I'm missing 2. The next secret I found, and I'm sorry, Boston, I have to spoil these. The next secret I found was Micro Machines. Which I think I talked about this when I first started playing. It feels like that Micro Machine perspective, where in the old Micro Machine games, you get to the edges of the screen, you knock the people out by making them go off the back end of the screen, and then you get points for being the only car left alive on this on this track that's, I don't know, a kitchen table, and you're driving around like, you know, big knives and stuff like that.
Very Katamari-like.
Yes. They do that exact thing in this, where you're driving the shopping trolley around a pool table, up the pockets, around the edge, through under some cards.
That's really good.
And you're racing against Micro Machines, and you knock them out, and you get the star, and then you get another star, and then you get another star.
Perfect.
You get different unlocks for doing this, and I think for that one you got a helmet, and that helmet is called McCrae, which... Thank you for being that referential that you put a rally helmet in and then called it the McRae helmet, who, for those of you who don't know, Colin McRae, famous Scottish rally driver, like one of the greatest of all time. And then I found probably my favorite secret ever.
Okay.
Because I went into Super Hot. Like, the actual game Super Hot in Supermarket Shriek, where you go through the portal, you come out, The level is all white, the obstacles are red, and it pops up in the screen in big white writing, one word at a time. Time moves when you shriek. And then it does exactly what it says on the tin, which is when you shriek, time moves. And you can't touch any of the red objects because you fail. And if you touch the red objects, it pops up and it goes, super not. And then puts you back at the start of the level.
That time moves when you shriek is too good.
Yes, it is. I jumped into that level because I was just randomly looking for secrets or something to do, and I jumped in, and when I saw that, I literally burst out laughing to the point where my wife looked at my screen trying to figure out what was going on. Right. And when you finish the level, it replays the level of you doing it at normal speed. It's like,
perfect.
Thank you, gentlemen, for probably one of my favorite secrets I've ever discovered in a video game ever. Like this, I thought the Sonic one was good, like the little half pipe. I thought that was a quality thing.
Yeah,
the Micro Machines was okay, but the super hot one it's chef's kiss all around. Like,
Supermarket Shriek has finished installing on your Xbox.
Nice, that worked out.
Thank you, Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass app.
Yes, I do have to talk about achievements for this game though.
Okay.
Because I tweeted about this, so I'm basically going to be repeating what I said on Twitter, which is to say, I love references, I love puns. You give me references and puns, and I absolutely adore it in achievements, especially if they make you play differently or give you a challenge. I posted a couple of selections of them, like you get killed by buzzsaws, and you get the achievement, Will It Blend? You change your outfit and you get Suit You Sir, which is a reference to a British comedy show from like the 90s to 2000s. I have one achievement left in the game. And this, I'm just going to say the achievement and see if you guys get it. I'm going to tell you what the achievement's called, and I'm going to tell you how you unlock it. The achievement is called The Most Important Day of Your Life. Okay, and you unlock this achievement by playing Supermarket Shriek on a Tuesday.
Okay.
Now, I literally posted this on... I mentioned on Twitter, it might be the deepest of deep cuts, completely unrelated to a game ever, because this is a reference to Raul Julia's speech in the Street Fighter movie.
Wow.
When he's talking to Chun-Li about how he devastated her village, and he responds with, I don't remember it. For you, the day Bison blessed your village with his presence was the most important day of your life. For me, it was a Tuesday.
It's so specific.
Literally so specific. And I wasn't sure if I was right. And I tweeted about this, and I actually added the developer. I was like, if this is a really deep cut, I don't know how many people are going to get it. Bravo, developer name, bravo.
Nobody expects the Street Fighter movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it is a famous line from the movie, but like the number of people that have seen that cinematic work is pretty low.
Best thing is, I literally said I will get this achievement on Tuesday, and then I'll be done with the game. The developer responded with saying, well, I guess you might say ... and a gif of Raul Julia from the Street Fighter movie saying game over.
Perfect.
I was right. It is a reference to that, and it's so deep. It's so amazing. I adore it. This game gets
so
5
good.
stars just for that alone, because...
Yep, 5 shrieks.
Chef's kisses all around. It's so good. But yes, Supermarket Shriek is actually a pretty enjoyable game until you hit that brick wall.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. 2 things that made me really burst out laughing this week, and it's like, okay, great. Thank you, you small team of developers, for being so amazing at some things that I love. Moving on from Supermarket Shriek. Blair Witch.
Yes.
Okay. This one's weird. So, do you guys know or have any interest or have ever listened to anything in the ASMR category?
I know of it, and I have listened to some stuff, and I haven't found anything that doesn't creep me out.
Yeah, I know of it, but don't really care.
Okay. Just so for anyone listening, we're not going to do a diet ASMR on the show. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
So for those uneducated, Nimp, ASMR is
uneducated. I told you, I just don't care.
Right.
Okay, for the ignorant Nimp, ASMR is usually recorded using binaural audio, which is different from stereo audio because it's not one source. Like, I'm speaking into this microphone, it's technically stereo, so it'll come out of both ears at the same time and make you, when you put headphones in, it makes you think that the noise is coming from the dead center of your head.
But if you're a Pearl Jam fan...
Yes.
I hope the one of you that got that joke out there really appreciates it.
I hope
I'm
so
here
too.
for you.
I hope so too. Binaural audio is recorded slightly differently, which is when the microphones that you record from it are spaced apart approximately the size of a human head. Mm-hmm. So it makes it it sounds a lot more like someone is speaking directly into one ear right next to your head.
Yeah.
Blair Witch is recorded using binaural audio.
Oh, no. Okay.
And this is genius.
Right.
Genuinely genius. Because I don't think I've ever heard of a horror game using binaural audio before to really creep you out.
Yeah, because that's just gonna... That's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. When you're running through the woods or walking through the woods with a flashlight and it is woods dark outside, and for those of you who've been out in woods at nighttime know what woods dark means. And then all of a sudden you hear a little right behind you.
Gotta go.
And then to your left. And then behind you again, and then to your right.
Whoa.
It's incredibly terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do a control here from last week and say bad things. Frame rate is hot garbage. It feels and plays like an indie game. Like, it feels like it was developed on a very, very, very strict budget. But improvements in even base level graphic design mean that the woods look like woods. The lighting effects are incredible in the game.
Your Nokia phone looks like an indestructible brick.
Looks like a Nokia phone. Your Nokia phone has Snake on it.
Yep.
There is an achievement for playing Snake on it.
Great. Snake and Space Invaders, I saw.
Yes. I really like this game. I can't play it right now because my wife is behind me in the game at this moment in time, so anytime I'm home and she's home, I deliberately don't play it because I'm past her in the story.
It's true love.
But yeah, this game is creepy. Like, real creepy.
Yeah.
It does some interesting things with PTSD, with being alone in the woods in the middle of the night, and I'm going to use this phrase knowing that most people will get what I say, with objects of power, which allow you to manipulate reality.
Right.
Which is very strange. Don't look at the achievements if you're going to play this game, whatever you do, because I pulled up the achievement list while waiting for it to load, and the very first achievement is a spoiler.
Nice.
Great.
And it's not secret.
It's one of those things where it's like, all right, the first achievement, kill your best friend Barry. He's the final boss. Okay, cool, thanks.
Uh-huh.
I don't get how developers still have problems doing it, because there's like achievements and trophies that are secret where it's like, oh, I just kill 500 enemies, and it's like, why is that a secret? But then you get stuff like this where it's like, obviously a spoiler. Why is this not a hidden / secret whatever?
Right. You found out that your dog is the real murderer. It's like, well, okay, thanks.
Yep. It's really, really dumb. But the game is it's a small team, I'm guessing. It's a budget title. The game is designed to scare you. And guess what? It scares me. And I love it.
Right.
I absolutely love it because it's got some kind of basic puzzles in there. It's got some environmental storytelling, a whole bunch of like collectibles and stuff like that. Apparently,
your standard like third-person shooter game.
First person, I'll have you know.
Ah, okay.
Just to make it more creepy. It's first person. And my favorite thing is dude goes out into the woods with like a pen flashlight. Like, not a big halogen lamp, nothing like that.
Right.
A pen flashlight.
Halogen lamps existed back then. He could have gone to a hardware store and picked something up.
Mm-hmm. Considering he had to drive to get to the woods, it's a very simple stop along the way.
I have seen the first couple of minutes of that game, and the lack of preparation of the main character is hilarious.
Yeah, because he goes out there, he's supposed to be finding these people, right?
He was supposed to join he's supposed to be joining a search party, and they left on time because he was late. And he was like, well, I'll just go in the creepy woods by myself with a pen light and my dog and my phone. That should be fine.
Yeah. The one smart thing is the dog has a glow-in-the-dark collar on.
Great.
That's the one smart thing, which my wife pointed out to me, because I wouldn't have noticed it otherwise.
Right.
But yeah, the dog has a glow-in-the-dark collar. That's
nice.
Literally the only smart thing going on here.
Some level of preparation, maybe accidentally.
And dude goes into the woods with a history of mental illness. He has PTSD. That's right there. Like,
right, don't go in the dark, spooky woods, man.
Mm-hmm. His dog is an emotional support dog.
Oh, okay.
Maybe don't go in the woods with your emotional support dog.
Yeah.
Just
maybe let the search team do their thing.
Mm-hmm. I have found out there are some alternate endings to this game.
Oh, okay.
There is alternate playstyles, which I wasn't expecting.
Interesting.
And I'm possibly going to be looking forward to going back and doing that, because I think there is 16 chapters in the game. I think in one sitting I made it to chapter 9 or 10.
Oh, okay. So it's not
a huge game.
Not a 40-hour thing.
No, it's not going to be some massive... I apologize for the pun here. It's not going to be a slog through the forest to get to play this game from the beginning again.
Right.
I like it. It's on Game Pass. Go download it and try it. Boston, please, Boston.
Put the headphones on.
Boston, please. I know you won't, but please, Boston, please.
No.
Please?
I won't.
Pretty please?
I love the idea of it, but I'm a chicken. Bok, bok, bok.
I like it. The Nokia just is a great touch as well, because it's like literally a Nokia phone. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The blue one, you know exactly the one.
Yes.
Has it got the rubber case on it?
Don't think he's got the rubber case on it, but it definitely has all of the tones and everything like
else
that.
For it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Blair Witch is fun. I don't really want to talk about the quote-unquote story because it's a Blair Witch game. So
right.
Go experience that for yourself. I will say one minor spoiler thing. There are monsters in the game.
Okay.
They are creepy, they move weird, and they scare the bejesus out of me.
Okay.
And they look like trees.
Fun.
Does the story still kind of go with the general horror trope of stupid people making stupid decisions?
I think in this case it's more a case of dudes trying to do something to help. And it's not so much he makes stupid decisions, it's more like the stupid decisions happen to him. He picks up a camcorder that can mess with reality, because why not?
Whoops.
And then things start happening from there. It's the classic example of, well, that escalated quickly.
Right.
Sweet.
Yep. It's a pretty good game. The dog AI probably needs some work, because sometimes he's just rolling around half in the ground, which is a little bit
dog
weird.
things.
Yeah. Hashtag just dog things.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying what I've played of it so far, and it's done a really good job of being very tense with minimal ways to die so far.
Okay.
It's doing a really good job. I'd say what you want about the Slenderman game, but that thing was terrifying because you literally didn't know which way it was coming from, and it was just tension building. That's all it was. It's all about ratcheting the tension up step by step. It's one of the reasons why battle royale games are so big right now, because the further you get in that game, in that match that you're in, the tension just keeps getting ratcheted higher and higher and higher the lower the number of survivors goes. But yeah, I like Blair Witch. The music's okay, the game looks okay, the voice acting is pretty okay. But that binaural audio and the lighting, they are genuinely game changers for making this game a lot creepier than it actually is.
Right.
And all this whole past couple of weeks, I've just been thinking, oh, ray tracing's going to be probably in the next consoles. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, do I want a remake of Alan Wake so bad.
Yeah, with ray tracing, like, man, yeah.
I'm just thinking about lighting in the woods, and it's just like, you know what? Did that really well. Alan Wake did that really well.
Yeah.
We could do with another Alan Wake at some point soon.
I'd like to see Alan Wake modernized a little bit, because I think Alan Wake is a really great game that would play a lot. Well, I think it would play a lot better if it was a little bit more modern. Mm-hmm. It's like a lot of games from that era where it's sort of like, you know, like the leap from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like now we've moved to a shooter. Like, all right, we've the standards are here. Like we're finally getting it.
Yeah. Moving on from Blair Witch onto my next game, which is Don't Let My Twitter Fool You. I did not complete this game in 17 seconds.
Okay.
This is Creature in the Well.
I also started this.
The Metroidvania pinball game thing, whatever it's called.
Yeah, like top-down action adventure Metroidvania pinball thing.
I started that this morning. I beat the game in one sitting.
Oh.
I got every achievement in one sitting.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
It's about 6 hours long.
Okay, so I'm probably about halfway there.
Yes. How many columns have you beaten?
My first one, I think.
You beaten. So in the main room, you've beat one column.
Yeah.
You're about an eighth of the way there.
Okay.
There's like 9.
Yeah. I don't. Creature in the Well is a weird thing.
Yeah.
I really want to like it. Like graphically, I think it looks super cool. It has this very this very stark art style where there's a lot of very thick, very heavy black shading on a bunch of stuff. It looks very worn down. This whole idea of like the world has been taken over by this giant sandstorm. You're trying to reactivate this temple. Your character looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Before, like the first 15 minutes plays really, really well. And then you get the charge move.
That was a game changer for me. Because
yeah,
a lot of people, and I think even the devs have said that this is kind of like a pinball game. And it kind of is. But for me, this is a physics-based puzzler.
It is, yeah, 100%.
Because you have to have played pinball to be able to use pinball logic to fix these puzzles.
Yeah, to like bounce a ball, hit this thing, and like hit all these points on this line to ricochet to hit all these points on this other line to open something up. Like,
yep.
It's very much not Yoku's Island Express.
Yes, there is no pinball table. It's more pinball physics.
Yeah, and like each room you can sort of visualize as having a pinball table's elements, but it's not. When you look at something like Yoku's Island Express, it's like this screen is a pinball table. It has a number of elements on it. You're usually dealing with one or two of them in Creature in the Well.
Yeah, and the difference in Creature as well is you can move the flippers, i.e. you can move yourself to wherever you need to be.
Yep.
Which, controls-wise, it needs a little bit of fine-tuning.
That has been my problem, that I like everything else in this game. The writing is really good. The characters are fun. I don't enjoy playing it. And I'm so frustrated because I can't put a specific... I can't put my finger on, this is exactly the problem I have with the controls. It just... The whole control scheme feels a little bit off.
Yeah, I had to teach myself to basically think of, like, what you're talking about, specifically the charge move, which is essentially, using the pinball terminology, that's holding your flippers up and crooking the ball and holding it in place.
Yeah.
I had to teach myself that I could use that to get where I needed to start whatever physics thing I needed to do the puzzle, to basically lock the ball in place there and then try and get my lineup right while doing that.
Right.
And then hit the actual shot button kind of thing to send the ball all flying away.
Yeah.
I will say it gets easier very quickly after that first dungeon.
Oh, okay.
And then probably in the last 2 dungeons, it suffers from the supermarket Shriek problem of, here's a brick wall, have fun with that.
Oh, okay.
There are a couple of... Because the game has... As I throw my pen on the floor, the game has a whole bunch of... Basically, it's the charge tool, the strike tool, which is the hold the ball, send the ball flying. There's a bunch of capes which you can collect, which are all cosmetics. Basically, it's just a cape that you guy wears on his back.
Yeah, I found a secret area in the first dungeon and had like you pulled a flag down off of something and wrapped it around you as a cape, and I was like, all right, this is really cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's a purple one outside at like the stick field. There's one that's just sitting on the edge of the cliff there.
Okay.
You can get them. The thing that changes with this is the tools that you use. So very quickly, if you're trying to find all the secret rooms, you will find different strike tools and different charge tools that have different effects. So like,
yeah, because you start with the game with like a steel pipe, and it's like it hits stuff.
Yep.
But you find a bunch of other stuff pretty quickly.
Yep. You have the steel pipe, and then that's the strike one. I'm trying to think of the second strike one you get is it regenerates health. So when you get the nasty pinball shots shot at you, you can absorb them and get health from them. I use that the majority of the game when it comes to that, because it's kind of a game changer later on for actually keeping you alive in some really hard rooms.
Right. Some boss fights.
Then there is the twin swords, which allow you to, when you're charging the ball, it gives you a laser pointer.
Oh, cool.
Which, when you're trying to solve a puzzle, is really, really, really handy.
Yeah.
Does it like reflect and bend with objects too, or is it just a straight, it hits something and it stops?
It's a straight hit something and stops one. Okay. But if you've played a lot of pinball, you know, like if this bumper is at a 45-degree angle and you need it to do a square, you need, hit it straight in the middle from directly below it kind of thing, and then it'll do the full square. Okay. Which the laser thing makes a huge difference in being able to see like pinpoint accuracy, stuff like that. There is a couple of secret ones which are dastardly hard. Like, really, really hard, like, physics puzzles where it's like, oh, bounce this off 6 walls and get it perfectly correct to hit this tiny little thing that pops up at the end to open this bridge. And it's like, okay, that's a secret. It's supposed to be a little bit harder than normal, so whatever.
Yeah.
There is some amazing ones, I think, close to the end of the game. Actually, I unlocked it close to the end, but you can get it sooner. There is the axe as the strike tool, which when you hit the ball, it splits it into 3.
Oh.
And the maximum balls, like if you're doing the charge tool, you can hold 3 balls at once. Like you can just hold the 3 balls right in front of you. And then if you hit your axe at that thing, it splits all 3 into 3.
Ah.
And then sends all of those off to like hit whatever you need it to hit to gain the energy, and then 3 of them will bounce back at you, and then you hit them with the axe again, and what do you know, you got another like 9 going.
That's cool.
So it does twist and change as it goes along. The very last level in the game is a hellscape of epic proportions. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why they made that jump. Like, the jump from doable, but slightly difficult, to here is a room full of red. Don't let any of the balls flying around the screen touch anything, because you'll die.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
So it becomes a case of, oh, I've got the magnet charge tool, so I suck balls into me, and then they stick with me instead of flying around all over the place. That's handy. I'll use that forever. Thank you very much.
Right.
I don't want to
Right.
die. But no, the game does change, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a cool game.
It's on Game Pass. Go play it on Game Pass if you're a Game Pass subscriber, because I think if I paid $15 for this, I wouldn't be disappointed. It was around about 6-7 hours long. If you need something to play on your Switch, I don't know how the controls will feel on the Switch.
Yeah.
That's my...
To me, it's like when we first discovered Yoku's Island Express. It's like, all right, I have not played a game like this before. At the very least, it looks cool, and it's a novel idea. Like, you're making this cool pinball-based action adventure game, and I can't say like, oh, another one of those.
It's a unique idea. It's an original idea. And it's executed pretty well from what seems based on the credits. Like 10 guys made this thing.
Nice.
It's like, okay, cool. You know what? I didn't even know your game existed until like literally 2 weeks ago. And now it's out. And now I've beaten it. And I will happily talk about it's well worth the playthrough.
Do you know if it's on PC Game Pass?
That I don't know.
Okay, because I'm running this on a vanilla Xbox One. Performance is not great.
I was just thinking the physics of the balls and stuff like that. Like graphically, it shouldn't be too hard.
Actually,
but the physics,
that stuff is fine. It's moving from one room to another. The frame rate dips pretty badly.
Oh, jeez, that's pretty bad.
It's weird. I mean, it's certainly not unplayable because the frame rate when you're doing the puzzles is totally fine. It's just like when the camera spins to show you from point A to B, that's when it starts getting weird.
Yeah. I am doing a quick search on my Xbox beta app. Oh, it's included with Xbox Game Pass for PC. So,
great.
Knock yourself out, Boston. It's right there.
Yeah, I might have to fire that up and see how it runs there.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's
cool.
I think it was enjoyable. It's a good, unique idea. And you know what? Yeah, I beat it in 6 hours. That's fine. I'm absolutely fine with that. Well worth the $15 if I would have spent it, as far as I'm concerned, because
it's a great rainy day game.
Exactly.
Start something new, bang it out.
Yeah, which is what I did this morning. I was like, I feel like playing something different because I feel like I'm playing a lot of heavy stuff right now. He says, as he just talked about a game with a goat and a man in a trolley screaming around the supermarket.
In a binaural horror game.
Yes. But yeah, give it a shot. Creature in the Well. See how you feel. Let us know.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I would like to know who else has played this. Who, write in, tell us what you think. Because I'd like to actually hear what other people think of this. Because it's not, like we said, Yoku's Island Express. It's not something I'd ever seen before. So,
yeah,
good on them for it. My final game this week, which is my second of the 2 crossover games, Control. Now, I know that somebody in the room started and finished the game this week.
And platinumed. So I went deep, yes. To be fair, platinum it only took me 15, 17 hours. I mean, it's by the time you finish that game, you're like, oh, I did like 75% of the stuff in this game already.
Yep, or in my case, 95% of the stuff already. And that's my fault.
Yeah. I had not done as many...
The alerts.
No, not the alerts. I'd done a couple of those. The board countermeasures? That's what they're called. Yeah. Because you have to do like 25 of those. I'd done probably 15.
I think I had like 2 left by the end of the game. But yes, I have also beaten the game. I have also beaten the absolutely nightmarish last boss. The optional last boss, I should say.
Was that the one you and I were texting about?
Yes, that is the one we were texting about. Again, I almost said his name then, and then I didn't want to say it because it's a huge spoiler.
It's a total spoiler. I cannot wait until we do our spoiler cast because the way that I beat that boss is...
It was quality.
It's creative, to say the least.
Completely not the way I beat it either. Because you probably did it the smart way. I did it the cheap way, which...
Yeah,
whatever.
I tried to do it the cheap way, and the game smacked me down. So, I won't do any story spoilers here for Control. We'll probably talk about some mechanics here. So, if you're trying to go in completely blind, we're not going to not going to talk about too much. We will talk about set pieces by name, but we won't talk about what those set pieces are, what those set pieces contain.
Okay.
The great part about Control is you can just say a combination of words and it means something important in Control, but it's sort of gibberish.
Yes, exactly. Like, you can say, like, I think I mentioned it last week, I specifically called out the clock fight.
Yes.
Anybody who knows the clock fight knows the clock fight.
Super cool.
Anybody who doesn't know must think I'm Back to the Future wanting it, trying to swing from a clock tower or something.
I do have to say a lot of those optional bosses, like the clock fight, were all really cool.
Yes, that one annoyed me because of the chasms of death around every corner.
Yes.
But
yeah.
Other than that, like the way it looks, the spinning motion, like the whole like that is incredible. I really like the traffic light scenario, which is so dumb but so great.
When I read there's a side quest in the game where they give you a list of things to go do, and one of them was like, "Oh, take care of the traffic light," and I was like, "Please, if it does the exact thing I want it to, this is going to be like my game of forever," and it did, and it was really good.
Yep, and then visually that thing is incredible as you make it further through that set.
The noise it makes, like where it goes, like it just,
Again, random words in Control, folks. The pink flamingo one was visually astounding.
You turn that corner and there's a bunch of pink, and I was like, it's probably over there.
Oh, gee, I wonder where it is, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess I don't have to look for it anymore.
Of course, we are kind of talking around the set piece, which is
the ashtray maze.
Yes,
the ashtray maze is hands down the coolest sequence I have played in a video game in probably 10 to 15 years.
There is
easily
a similar-ish sequence in the first Vermintide game, but nowhere near as executed as well and as mind-bogglingly gorgeous as this. And I know you have a problem with lyrics. Don't diss them on the show, please. Thank you very much.
I thought the lyrics were a little on the nose.
They are, 100%.
But I don't think that detracts from the sequence. It's the coolest. It's just like it. I think it's the reason. I wish I could show people what that looks like, because I want people to play Control, but I don't want to spoil the ashtray maze for them, because going into the ashtray maze at the beginning, it's sort of like, okay, cool, this sucks. Like, what am I?
Yeah,
that's a maze.
I tried to explore it before I had the ability to explore it, and it's like, oh no, you just keep getting sent around in circles and back to the entrance you go.
And then going back to the maze and seeing that is, it just, go play Control without anyone spoiling it for you, because that is, I think one of the things that I really want is I want a postmortem for this game, and I want them to explain technologically how did you do that? How does that work? How do you make that?
Visually, it's one of my favorite things I've been a part of in video games. Like walking through that area and seeing things and the way things move, and it's
it just. I thought it was going to be like the first part of the ashtray maze. It was not.
No. It gets completely weird and completely amazing. Like that to me that sums up Control. Completely weird and completely amazing. Like I mean,
Control is incredible.
Minor non-spoiler alert here, Nimp, but you specifically mentioned that you don't want them to explain everything. Maybe a little bit of explanation here and there. Guess what? They don't explain jack.
Which I figured, because like I said, SCP, they don't explain anything. You just... and that's kind of why I like it, too.
Yeah, and I think Control does so well in explaining the world and its lore. And I think the one thing I realized about halfway through the game was that every piece of lore you pick up is one page. And that's it. Like,
probably a dossier like as thick as a telephone book.
Yeah, and it's like a memo or something, or like a letter someone wrote, but they're only one page. It's not this thing where you pick up and it says like page 1 of 17. And it's like, well, I'm never going to read that. I read every single piece of paper in this game because it just takes a couple seconds to just read through this thing and you go, oh, well, that's crazy. That's where that thing came from. That sounds real dangerous. Hope I don't have to deal with that later.
And then next thing you know, 5 hours later, oops, there it is. Go deal with it. It's like,
and like,
great.
The audio logs you're picking up, which there aren't that many in the game, are like a minute and a half, unless it's the radio show. That's a couple minutes, but you always want to listen to that anyway.
Threshold Kids is incredibly and creepy.
Control Kids is so good. Control Kids is great. Uncle Mr. Bones is probably one of my new favorite characters. The guy who plays Darling is probably the runaway hit of Control.
Also known as Alan Wake.
Yes, also known as Alan Wake himself. Yep. The videos that he was in, every one of those was incredible.
The sunglasses one blew my mind because it just came out of nowhere.
Did not expect that, yeah. And I feel like they did so many things right with this lore because like each one of those videos is just Dr. Darling talking to you as if you're an employee there, and they're maybe 2 minutes at most.
It's basically like a human resources video.
Right, it's like, here's why this diskette, this 8-inch diskette from the Russians, was really important, and here's what objects of power are.
And here's why you don't touch it, ever.
Right, don't touch anything.
Yes.
Keep your hand. And I think all of that stuff, and seeing his storyline progress, mostly in order, but occasionally out of order, was really great.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other characters are talking about where his story ends up, and then pretty early on, and then you're filling in the pieces as you're sort of going along.
Yes. It's a minor thing, so I'm just going to talk about it. In his videos, my favorite thing is the in-universe lore and story between his 2 lab assistants.
Yes. When you find out what's going on,
you get it visually, and you get it like you can see it visually, the thing that's going on between those two, and then when you get the notes and the paperwork corresponding with it, it's just like, you know what? Again, chef's kiss, all around, chef's kisses.
And I think that's really great because there's probably, all told in this game, there's probably like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of Darling videos, but because they couple that with the audio logs and the text logs and the videos, like you just get such a great idea about the people involved in the Bureau, of like the small like 1% you've seen of the oldest house, but you're already getting such a rich amount of stuff. Like you run into a whole bunch of people in the game, most of whom I didn't like, except for Arish and Emily.
Emily is probably one of my favorites. Arish was quality
Emily's
too.
Great.
I need to redacted. I can't say any of what I was just about to say because it's huge spoilers.
Okay. I didn't like Langston. I didn't like the lady Marshall, I think her name was.
Yeah,
I didn't like Underhill. I didn't like...
I thought Underhill was... I didn't like her as a character. I thought she was portrayed really well. Like, the ultimate of, I am a giant nerd, this is my field of expertise, get the hell out of my way.
I like her line of, like, you can go back to worrying about that hiss thing you're all worried about. I was like, oh, okay. That's pretty great. Yeah. Also, the hiss is a really great name for a set of enemies.
Especially a set of enemies that seem to communicate through white noise.
Yes.
Which is literally just a hiss.
Speaking of, the board is great.
Yes.
The subtitles for the board are really
best.
good.
Yep.
Yeah. I do have to say, I think this game is probably one of my favorites I've played in years and years and years and years. I will recommend it to everyone. If you liked Alan Wake, I feel like Control is them taking those ideas, taking that shell of what made Alan Wake really great, refining it, and then giving you powers on top of that.
Yeah, it feels to me like they took Alan Wake, they took Quantum Break.
Yep.
I confused myself then because, like, no way does it rhyme with Alan Wake. But it feels like they took the two of them, like, because Alan Wake, I felt like the controls are spotty and the combat was iffy.
Yeah.
And Quantum Break tried to fix that with the powers in Quantum Break. The story was okay, whereas Alan Wake's story was mind-blowingly good.
Right.
And it feels like they blended the two of them. And I mean, everything from what I understand, play this thing on PC. If you've got a monster PC that can pull the ray tracing stuff, play it on PC.
Yeah, I wish there was a demo out there that I could try, because I thought it looked really great on PS4 Pro. There's no HDR, which is a bummer, and no, they're not putting that in there, which is fine.
I think they decided to focus on ray tracing. I think that's what they
said they're going to patch in photo mode instead of patching in HDR. It's like, okay, that's fine. Most people will probably use photo mode more than HDR.
Yeah.
But man, does it also, I have to say, from a performance perspective, I'm running on a PS4 Pro. I didn't understand what you were talking about with the performance issues you were seeing at the start of the game, and then I got to the second area, and it's like the map's not loading, the pause button frame issues. Like, I started running into all those issues then. I was like, oh, okay. The only negative I have to say about this game is for the high that the ashtray maze was, the fight that followed it was terrible.
Wait, which fight are we talking about?
The satellite dishes.
Okay. I was okay with that one. Ish.
I had so much trouble with that stuff, and I think the game, in a really interesting way, respects the rule of threes a lot. Wink. It didn't respect the rule of threes in this fight. So, like, you do your first couple of them, and then the game's like, okay, cool, that was fun. Maybe we'll do some more, though.
Yeah. I do love the fact that they even call out that as a reference, the rule of threes.
Yes.
It's so
really
good.
Great. And I think the only thing I want to caution is if you go into the game and you're playing it... Hold on, I just had to...
mixed screens, calm down, please.
Yeah, calm down, mixed screens. I'm not in the mood today. I think the ashtray maze is definitely 100% the highest high, and I think that fight is tough, and some of the final fight stuff is tough, but once you get to the ashtray maze, like, you're almost done with the game. So if you're having problems, just kind of keep pushing through it.
Yeah.
Because everything in that game is really well worth doing. And especially, I would recommend doing all the side missions, finding all the secret areas. There's a really great secret area on the 5th floor of the Panopticon that you should really go see. And Control is incredible. I want to talk so much more about Control, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone, because you need to go play it.
Yep.
And you need to go play it as blind as possible.
Yeah. It's definitely ideal. Like, the way they loop, like, I think the thing that they do so well in this game is they loop real world things into the actual lore of the game. Like, I'm just gonna say paperwork involving fans. That's quality moment right there. You pick that up, you read it, and if you're aware of what that's referencing, it's a nice touch. Yeah,
that's a good point, because they do loop in a lot of, like, famous phenomena that maybe haven't been explained, and a memo's like, oh, here's what caused it, and then here's how we covered it up.
Yeah, and this is now an altered item, which is currently in this place. I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Brad or Jeff over at Giant Bomb. They described it as ritualism as bureaucracy, which is so
I've heard that
perfect.
Too.
Like, it's a perfect description for the game, for that world, for the lore. It's just so nice. Like, I absolutely adore that game.
I could spend the next 5 hours talking about Control and be happy about it. So we'll hopefully knock out a spoiler cast for it sometime soon. But go play Control.
Yep.
It is a game you need to play as soon as you can.
Yep. And that is the last thing I've played. So here is the button. I'm passing it over to you, Nimp.
All right. So, first game that I played and beat was Cold Steel 2 on the Vita.
Finished it for the 13th time.
Yeah, and then it threw an epilogue on after that, which kind of infuriated me for a moment.
I liked your tweet of, I finally finished it. It was like the end credits, and it's like your next tweet a couple minutes later was like, no, there's an epilogue.
Yep.
Yeah, it got to the point where it wanted me to save. I'm like, okay, cool, clear data, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then it started up an epilogue. I'm like, oh, screw this game.
Son of a...
But apparently the epilogue, it is and it isn't tied to the story, so I have beaten the game. This is extra stuff that's introducing 2 different characters from the previous series. There are a ton of stories that are cut up. So the Cold Steel series is technically the 7th series in all of this. The Trials in the Sky, or Legends, Heroes Legends, whatever the other one is the 6th story. And there's a 6th or a 7th story that Falcom has not translated and brought over to the West, and it doesn't look like they're going to do that. But these 2 characters at the end of this game are from the 7th story.
Oh, okay.
So you're kind of getting introduced to these characters, but in the West, you don't know who these people are or why you should care. So that's why I'm probably not going to play.
Right.
You can get them because they're part. What is it? The Zero no Kaseki and Aya no Kaseki is what they're called in Japan. You can get them here in the West, but they're all in Japanese. So there's like a ton of people trying to do fan translations for them.
Oh, nice.
But they're all kind of burnt out at this point.
Right. And also, like, JRPGs are famously incredibly hard to fan translate, not only because of their content, but often because of how they're programmed.
And there's just a ton of dialogue in these games.
Yeah.
So there's one guy, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's like 90% done. And he had just posted on his website, I just need to take a break.
Yeah, so, please.
Yeah. So I may play the epilogue later on at some point. They do, from what I've read online, apparently once you've beaten the epilogue, they do tie the story in the epilogue back with the story that you just completed. So
okay.
Because all these games end on a cliffhanger because they continue on. So I could get more story. This game is like really riding the line of not being fun to play. And the euphoria I got just from beating the game was great until it was hammered
finally
back
done.
Down.
Yeah.
And that's not... And it's not like I hate this game or anything. I had fun with the game. It just suffered from they try to pack in so much stuff at the end of the game that it's like, I just want to beat it. You've overstayed your welcome.
Right.
So... The next game that I played was Astral Chain.
Oh, yeah.
I have made it up to File 8. And your brother is kind of a D-bag at this point.
Great.
Very early in the game, you have your own police department. Well, you don't have your own, but there is a police department in the game, like a separate section called Neuron. And between your character and your brother-sister character, whichever one you didn't pick, and 3 other people, there's 5 of these legions. And each officer has a legion. Probably like at the end of File 1, beginning of File 2, everyone else but you loses their legion because story reasons.
Sure.
So you were the only one left with this ability to fight the chaos and all this stuff. And as the game continues... you slowly start to find these other legions that these other cops used to have, and you actually grab them and control them again.
Oh, okay.
So I'm at the point now where I've got 4 out of the 5 legions right now, and they all do fairly interesting things, both in combat and out of combat, like with basically like your archer type. You can shoot stuff in the worlds, you can shoot down ladders and stuff like that to give you access to other areas in the map, other items, that kind of fun stuff. The Arm Legion can actually suck you up like a Metroid. So you basically get sucked up underneath it, and then he just kind of hovers around. So if there's in-world, like there's always in-world goop on some of these maps where it slows you down or it does damage, You just let them suck you up, and then you just kind of hover over it, and you're good to go.
Cool.
The Beast Legion, you ride like a horse. And it's just a giant K9. The only thing that
blue one?
They're all blue.
Okay. I've seen the dog one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Riding the Legion is fun. The problem is the controls for the Legion are kind of wonky, where you have to take wider than expected turns, and it doesn't move or control the same way your character, like you're used to controlling your character. So there have been several times where I've run off the edge of a cliff because it didn't stop, or I was trying to make a turn and didn't make it fast enough, or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I'm still really liking the game. But anyway, the reason why the brother is kind of a D-bag now is he gets real angsty because he lost his Legion. Then you find his Legion, which makes him even more angsty. Then he gets hurt, and he's basically hospitalized. And then at the point I'm at now, he all of a sudden has a Legion. But it's not the one that he originally started with. So now he thinks he's
suspicious.
So now he thinks he's all Mr. Powerful and stuff, and he's trying to talk down to you. It's like, nah, man, I am going to cut you down.
Does he have an evil laugh?
No, I mean, he's not evil, and he's not bad. He's still on your side. He's just a D-bag now.
Right.
So...
Oh, man.
And I'm trying not to ruin it, because there's not a whole lot of story for him moving. Basically what I said is... what you know through the story.
Right.
But I'm kind of really not liking his character. Which I'm assuming would be the sister character if you chose the brother, or, whatever. So him I'm not liking. But the rest of the game's still great. Toilet Fairy's still there. Still blessing toilets. It's a great game. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, I think it's on my wish list.
I think it's one of... If you haven't bought a Switch, between this game and Breath of the Wild, I think are two major reasons for why you should check out a Switch.
Nice.
So
yeah, I'm hoping to get around to it eventually, because all of it sounds like it's in my wheelhouse. It's just it's video game season again, so there's so much stuff out where it's like, all right, I just finished this game that I really... Oh, here's another one. Okay.
Well, and I almost didn't pick it up because I figured it would just fall under the radar because of it being a Japanese game.
Yeah.
Right.
But then I forgot that Platinum is still fairly popular over here.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
All of a sudden I was seeing headlines everywhere for this game. I was like, I gotta pick this up before it gets spoiled.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So the next game, which I haven't had to worry about being spoiled, and Boston's gonna hate me for saying it because he's got to figure out how to spell it, and I got to figure out how to say it.
Okay.
Utawareremono.
Yes.
Mask of Truth.
Utawareremono.
Ramono, yes. So, for those of you that don't know...
Which one?
Mask of Truth.
Mask of Truth.
So,
I actually have it back here.
I was going to say...
I got a box copy of
Yeah.
it.
So, for those of you that don't know, these are visual novels that originally came out on the PlayStation Vita, and they got re-released on the PS4. They are based off of an anime, which I'm assuming is based off of a manga of some sort. I don't know.
That's a safe assumption.
Yeah. I fell into these many years ago because there's 2 seasons, and I ran across the second season before I ran across the first season, not knowing that it was the second season.
What's funny is that seems to happen to a lot of people with the game, where it's like, this is the first game. Who are these people? It's like, oh, great, I picked up the second one.
Well,
great.
and to get sidetracked, apparently the first season they knew didn't do very well. It was just kind of like it just went under everybody's radar. And the second one, apparently almost everyone knows about it, watched it, you have your various opinions on it or whatever. And they do have some characters that show up towards the end from the first season that are in the second season, because the 2 seasons are about 15 to 20 years difference in the timeline.
Oh, okay.
So you have that crossover, and you have these crossover in the games. The Mask of Deception, which is the first game, and Mask of Truth, which is the one that I just beat, the second game, both take place... Mask of Deception takes place during Season 2. It's basically the whole Season 2. Mask of Truth is everything that would have been Season 3, because they never made a Season 3. They left season 2 at a massive cliffhanger. So
shocker.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that was why I got back into these, was because I'm not going to buy the manga or the light novels or whatever. There's very few, things that I'll buy for anime. Mm-hmm. But I've wanted to know how this story is ended, because it left at such a cliffhanger that it's like, I want to know how this ends.
Right.
So I replayed all the first one, got to this one, and these games are long. It's a visual novel that's broken up with tactical RPG battles. Mm-hmm. The visual novels are good. I really like them. The writing's pretty well. The music in these games are great. They all have Eastern Oriental sound. They use instruments from that, general area. The graphics are your standard, 2D, people just standing there, and you have your text boxes and you just read.
Your standard visual novel stuff.
The battles, though, are actually fairly interesting, because I haven't run across another system like this where you have your grid for a tactical RPG. You're leveling up your characters, but you're not equipping weapons with them or whatever. They have their weapon of choice for whatever they've trained with. What you do equip on them are these books or scrolls, which give them different abilities, but they're not like choosable abilities. Like, you can put a scroll on a character that increases their health by 10%, or increases their defense, or
all passive stuff.
Yeah, it's all passive for the most part.
Okay.
And then they also have, I think it's called, I've been playing it for so long, I don't remember. I think it's called a Zen system, where it's like Battle SP, where it'll fill a gauge, and once your gauge gets to certain points, your characters can use different actual abilities of theirs. Different attacks, different heals, that kind of stuff. And there's no items in this game whatsoever. You have to if you need to heal someone, you have to use a character's ability, and they have to have the right amount of Zen to be able to use, whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, as they level up, they start to be able to do more attacks. Then they start to be able to do finishing skills. Then you have co-oping finishing skills and co-oping attacks. And it's this whole deep thing, and all the attacks are done by QuickTime events.
Oh, interesting.
Which can and can't be a problem, because they have varying degrees of it, where most of it's just you see this ring come down to a point, and once it flashes, you have to hit X, and then you've done, a great or whatever.
Kind of Paper Mario style?
Yes. There are other ones where you have the ring, but it just slowly fills around, so you have to hold X, and it'll tell you hold while it's, filling around. Once it gets back to the point, you release, and then you've done a great on that. The problem is, though, is that some of these moves and some of the animations that are going on in the background are so flashy that it's kind of hard to see where it's at, and you tend to miss it sometimes. So then you have to get used to, okay, this move's going to happen. The gauge is going to be here. Right about here is when I have to hit it. And then you've got varying degrees depending on how hard the attack's going to hit. Maybe that bar moves faster. Maybe it moves a lot slower than you used to. So then you have all these other elements that you're trying to contend with so that you can try to get a grade on them.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Yakuza 0 karaoke games, where it's just like, I know there's something awesome going on in the background. I cannot watch.
And that's kind of the other problem, too, is there are a lot of animations and stuff going on in the background, and some of them you just can't see during the battle. So
yeah.
But, God, I'm completely losing my train of thought with all of this now. Good thing I have notes. So, I started this game forever ago. I think it came back out in 2016, and I got stuck on a boss, because you don't necessarily need to beat the boss. It's more of you need to stop a boss from doing this thing, or else you fail.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And for the life of me, I could not... Basically, you have to prevent him from getting to a character in the way back. And this map is set up like a long haul, where it's not very wide, it's just very deep. Mm-hmm. And you have to prevent this boss character from getting past all of your people to hitting this one person in the way back that's trying to do something.
Okay.
The problem is, though, is that he moves really fast. He has the ability to jump, which most characters don't. And I'm talking like long distances.
Oh, okay.
And he attacks really hard. So I had my characters equipped with certain passive skills where when you get them within a certain block radius of a character, they'll taunt them, which means they're stuck in that area and they can't move until, they've taken care of that character. This boss seems to be able to negate that sometimes, so it would never fail no matter what I do. He would just hop over my line of defense, go over there and hit this person, and I couldn't get past it.
Right.
So I started playing it again this week, because once I beat Cold Steel, I was like, all right, I want another Vita game to play that I was in the middle of. I think I loaded that map 3 times, and on the 3rd time finally got him to where he couldn't do anything,
Awesome.
and then I actually beat him, which was a real pain in the butt, because I don't think you're necessarily supposed to beat him.
Right.
So once that happened, I just basically played that game nonstop throughout the rest of this week and then beat it last night.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And the final boss took me about 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I don't feel bad about that. None of it, like, it wasn't failing. Like, the actual fight took 2 hours.
Right.
It's a Final Fantasy 15 tortoise issue or whatever it was.
Well,
Yeah.
It was like 15 hours or something to beat the stupid boss.
Well, and it's because it's adding... So you're not fighting the final boss directly at first. There's probably like 6 different rounds before you finally get to the final boss. But they're still giving you story stuff while you're fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it starts out in a really cool way where the first set of things that you fight, you cannot beat. So you get this kind of hopeless feel of, well, to this point, my characters have been doing great. We've been fighting well. And now all of a sudden I'm against these powerful foes and I can't do anything about them.
Yeah.
So it turns out that the first battle is just a survival. You have to live. You don't have to beat them. You just have to live a certain amount of rounds. Which is great because within the first round, they took out probably about 4 of my characters without me even being able to move. And that wasn't like story, these characters are gone. These are just, the computer came over, whomped on my party, and I have this amount left over.
Right.
Which, the nice thing is, too, because normally throughout the battle in the story, you only have like 8 characters that you can use on the battlefield at once, and you've got probably like 12 or 13 altogether. For the final battle, they let you use all of them at once.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah, so that was nice too, because normally having 4 characters wiped, like first round before you can even move, you're screwed. You've done something, like you need to go back and train.
Yeah.
So you get through that, and once you get to the round limit where you're failing basically, they give you the ability to start winning. And it's a story-related plot reason for why your characters can start winning this fight. And then it hits you with another despair thing through the 3rd fight. And then it gives you your final hope, basically. And it gets you through the rest of the fight. And then you can finally go on to the boss battle with the final boss. Which, that in itself was back and forth quite a bit, where I didn't know if I was doing it right, or, if it was supposed to be this hard. But there were a lot of times where I thought I was going to end up wiping, managed to turtle up, get everyone back to where I needed them to be able to start attacking again, and then the boss would do something. And so we would have this back and forth where all of a sudden I would have the upper hand for a while, but then I would lose it, and the final boss would have the upper hand, and it would just keep going back and forth until finally I finished the final boss.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks too, because the final boss is the only enemy in this game where it doesn't tell you how much health they have. And
okay.
You start, normally in this game, if you do around 100 to 200 points of damage, you're hitting like high limit.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the final boss, because of, your last ray of hope, your characters all start doing 800, 900, 1,000, 2,000 points of damage. It's like,
right.
All right, cool. I can take on this final boss, hit the final boss for 4,000 damage, and you see the tiniest little sliver come off their health bar. And it's like, oh, this is going to be the long haul.
Yeah, like, oh boy, here we go.
So, got through the final boss, got an ending, I think there's only one ending through all of them. I hope so, because it doesn't seem like you have a lot of choices in the game, if any at all. It's all just story given to you. So the ending was pretty bittersweet, but it was nice. It left you like that nice little ray of hope that maybe in the future, quote unquote the future, there may be a happy ending for everybody.
Right.
But it was fairly bittersweet, and I really enjoyed it. And this is probably one of the few final boss battles where it took me as long as it was and had so much crap in it that I was like, no, that was all story related, and yeah, it was long, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it kept you on your toes a lot too, which is something that I find a lot of tactical RPGs don't really do as much. It's either you're overwhelming them or they're overwhelming you. Yeah. There's never that real give or take of, oh no, the battle is really turning in their favor, and if I don't do something about it, I'm screwed.
That's cool, yeah.
So, really enjoyed that series. If anyone has an interest in it, pick it up for the PS4. They also have...
Yeah, I keep seeing, I think they're putting out the 2 Mask games on Switch.
Yeah, they are
look here
also coming out with Zen, which is a Mushu title, which I picked up. Yeah. It's coming out this week. And then they are also doing a visual novel based off of Season 1, which they're calling Prelude to the Fallen. And it's basically covering all the events 20 years before, Season 2 and so on with these other 2 games. So I enjoyed the visual novels. There is some harem stuff in there, which I'm not against. I don't really care one way or another, but it's got my favorite hero archetype of the lazy guy that doesn't want to do anything, but when he needs to, he gets stuff done.
Oh, right. One Punch Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, to the point that at the end, I'm debating if I want to spoil this or not.
Probably not, because there's probably a lot of people that haven't played it.
There is something that happens at the end of this game with the main character where it fits him being lazy, and it feels really deserved for him.
Oh, nice.
Because up until this point, he's not, he's been in that mode where he has to do something. So that's what this last game's pretty much been, is him getting stuff done. And he's kind of complaining about it to himself that, I shouldn't have to do this kind of crap. And he makes these little comments about when he's fighting things, like, I'm expecting to get overtime compensation for this, or as I'm complaining to HR kind of crap. So it's all fun and games, and I enjoy it. It's also kind of lighthearted to start, and it slowly gets darker and darker, and then it gets lighthearted again. So it goes back and forth a lot too. But I really enjoyed the series, and I really like those games. So
I gotta play them.
Yeah, there's a lot of time. There's a lot of time to get to the end.
Yeah,
from where I was stuck. It was literally me playing all Friday night and all last night, and I didn't get done until about 5-6 o'clock in the morning this morning playing it.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of story after you beat the final game, or I'm sorry, the final boss. So it's real story heavy, which is great because it's a visual novel and that's what you want. But my God, there's a lot, and I love it. Next game that I was playing was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 with my kids. We haven't gotten terribly far still, just because work and stuff keeps happening. But we sat down, played a couple rounds, or a couple areas last night. We are still having issues with keeping track of our characters.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of a pain because we are playing on a 64-inch screen TV in my room. And saying that TV is 4 feet away from me right now is generous. So it's kind of a pain. And I think a lot of it has to do with is the camera. It's not like a top-down kind of back camera like Diablo. It's trying to stay closer, not like, over the shoulder closer, but it's a little closer than you would normally expect. And it's constantly
kind of like,
trying to move.
Bayonetta, isn't it?
Maybe a little further back than Bayonetta, but about the same. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's constantly trying to move to show you the action, quote unquote, but it's not, because it'll get stuck behind a wall and then you're looking at a black screen.
Great.
Or, just, I don't know, the camera's not that great for this game. Playing it's fine. We all really enjoy it. We're starting to screw around with the ISO stuff that's in there, leveling up our characters and all that stuff. A side note for Nintendo products is that the Joy-Con, my left one, just keeps disconnecting.
Great.
No issue, I believe, as well.
Yeah, and like I said, we're maybe 4 feet away from everything. There's absolutely no reason why that one should be disconnecting, so we're constantly trying to reconnect and connect while we're playing.
Ugh.
Just throwing it in there because it's on the Switch. So
yeah.
And then the last game that I've been playing is Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Because, like I said, I am starting to run out of Vita games to play now, which is making me kind of sad. So I picked this up for my son forever ago after he beat Wind Waker for the Wii U when that came out. Mm-hmm. He's already beaten it. I've already had to tell him several times to stop trying to spoil the story, as I will ground him.
Yep. Right.
It's like, I can see your save file, how many hearts and items you have, knock it off.
Right.
So far, I've only gotten as far as completing the first 2 dungeons. It's basically, so far, it's set up like Ocarina of Time, where you have your 3 dungeons that you have to beat, and then it seems like it'll open up, and then you'll have your other dungeons to beat. So I've gotten my second dungeon, my second item that I need. The only thing that I kind of don't like about this game so far is that you don't get the items through the dungeons anymore. You get them through that shop.
Yep, you rent them.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a cool system that will work out eventually, but you got to pay a lot of money.
Well,
is it one of those things where it feels weird because it's not the system that we're all used to?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing. I haven't died yet, so I haven't run across losing all your items and having to buy them all back.
Yeah.
Which the other weird thing is that you get a ton of money in this game.
Yes. Well, because what the game really wants you to do is, instead of renting the items, it really wants you to buy them permanently. And you need a lot of money for that.
I was going to say, I haven't even gotten that option yet. I'm still renting.
Yeah. I think you have to finish those first couple dungeons, because basically at that point, the game opens up and you can do whatever dungeons you want at that point, because you don't get an item after you finish a dungeon, so there is no like next dungeon. It's just, I'm going to buy this one item so I can definitely clear out that dungeon with this item.
Which, and that's just because I'm not very far into it. I haven't had as much of an issue because right now they clearly point out, hey, this is a dungeon. Hey, you need the bow and arrow for this.
Right.
So that's not an issue, because that was my initial concern was, okay, what's to stop me from having all these items and then not having a clue what to do with any of them, because I'm not getting that. I mean, I've played all the Zelda games before, but, for someone new who hasn't, how are you supposed to know how to use the hook shot if you don't know to look for those wooden post kind of things?
Exactly, yeah.
So it's interesting. I like it. I'll probably play more of it. I just don't know. Like I said, the shop idea is interesting. Just don't know if I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm curious to hear what you think about it in the end, because I really like that game, but the shop is weird.
Different. I really like the fact that he takes over your house.
Yes, he just moves right in.
You just tell him, hey, you can stay here for a little bit until the monsters clear out, and then you complete a dungeon and come back, and all of a sudden there's a rabbit sign on top of your house, and you walk in here, and he has all of your stuff shoved up against the walls, and his shop stuff is just right there. He's like, oh yeah, you said I could stay here, so I figured I'd set up shop here, and Link's just like, what?
Sure, man. Yeah.
But then I also kind of lied too. Rocket League is actually the last game that I played, but this is going to be really short. My son and I just played the tournament Friday, or a tournament series Friday. And that was pretty fun. I'm getting better. I still can't hit the ball for anything, but I'm getting better.
Yeah.
We played a lot of the hockey, and then we did Chaos, which is 4x4 or 4v4. And that is chaotic. I've never been hit by so many cars just driving.
It does exactly what it says on the tin, which is chaos.
Yeah, there's been several times where I've lined up for a shot, and I have not only the opposing team, all 4 of them running into me, but then the other 3 from my team running into me to get to the ball. It's like, okay, the opposing team, I can see, why are you all coming over here?
Right, go away.
Yeah, so it's still a fun game.
Nobody
My
wants
son
to share.
really enjoys it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all I've been playing. How about you, Boston?
Speaking of visual novels, played a little bit more of House and Fata Morgana. Not going to talk about that too much, but yes, the game definitely took a turn. It took the turn I was expecting it to, right into Spooky Town.
So you played that, but you won't play Blair Witch, you won't play Resident Evil.
Yeah, I can read some spooky. It's fine. I'm not going to listen to some 3D audio ASMR horror. I could see the spooky stuff coming from about an hour away, and that tension ratcheting the whole time was really good.
Was it more the anticipation tension?
Yes, because it's like, okay, I can see
happen, you just don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, because there's like 2 or 3 storylines that are all starting to come together all of a sudden. It's like, okay, cool, like, and sort of see where stuff is starting to go wrong in all of these storylines all at once, and then they kind of come together and things get resolved in a pretty happy way, except for like one little thing, and that little thing bursts into this horrible series of images that was really terrifying. So
is it like DDLC kind of Switch?
What's
Doki Doki Literature Club?
I would say it's on the same level of like, oh, this is happening. Oh, you're showing me that. Okay, cool. Yep, sure. I would say it's less immediately impactful as Doki Doki's was, because I feel like it would be really hard to beat the opening the door scene in the first hour of Doki Doki.
Yeah.
First hour of a 4-hour game.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason why it's not as impactful visually is because I'm going to be playing this for 40 hours. You know, it's a standard visual novel. They're like 40 to 50 hours of reading. So you don't often get like that big impactful moment. It doesn't usually happen at once. It usually gets like drawn out in a really great way. So yeah, it's good. It's starting to get there. I'm starting to see why people might like it, and I'm starting to see why the word insanity is used a lot in the promotion of this game, which is very promising.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep playing that. But the only other game I played this week, because we already talked about Creature of the Well, which you should absolutely go play, and Control, which you need to play, that's like required reading at this point, is Gears 5, who I didn't realize. So I knew this was a Game Pass game, and I knew there was like an ultimate version out there where it's like, get a week early or whatever.
Yep.
Didn't realize the ultimate version was on Game Pass, which is really great, Microsoft. Thank you.
I think if you're on Game Pass Ultimate, you get the Ultimate version. I think if you're on regular Game Pass, you get the regular version, I think.
Okay, yeah, I haven't... There's a lot of information out there about it.
So we need is another set of tiers for game releases.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think right now there's... If you're a new subscriber to Game Pass, it's really just Game Pass Ultimate, but if you're... like an
legacy,
OG
legacy Game Pass
legacy
subscriber.
Yes, I think if you're a legacy subscriber there's some other tiers, but so I have been playing as much Gears of War 5 as it will let me.
Yeah, I was absolutely blown away to see all Boston's tweets this week were just like Gears 5, Gears 5, Gears 5, Gears 5,
Yeah.
Gears 5, Gears 5. It's like, what's going on with the world?
A lot of it. So number one, really excited to play Gears 5. I have enjoyed all of the other Gears games. Yes, that includes Judgment. Don't at me. I loved Gears 4, though it's certainly not the best of the series. It's been so long since Gears 4 came out that Gears 5 on the horizon was like, yeah, man, let's dive into another Gears game. That sounds great, especially coming off of Control. It's like, all right, I will happily pick up another non-games as a service game to sort of pick up and play through.
Also, I just realized that like the combat in both of those games are kind of directly opposite, because the gunplay in Control is a little bit floaty, and the action, like the powers and stuff like that, is a little bit light. It has impact, but it feels very light. Whereas Gears is 100% wet meat slapping against wet meat kind of game.
Yeah, like that. Boy, that I always forget about the headshot noise. That's like, yeah, just like, and it's used so often. Like I remember the early Gears games when you got like a sniper rifle headshot. That's the noise, and like the animation was really great. Seems like it's for every headshot now, which is fine, but you hear that noise a lot.
It is. What happened was they increased the criticals for headshots as the game went on. So like in Gears 1, it's almost impossible to get a headshot with the standard BS pistol that the Gears start with, the little pea shooter where you just like pee. Whereas by the time Gears 4 rolled around, you could quite easily get headshots with that, and it would always do that noise.
Okay. Yeah, there's a nice display now for when you get headshots or critical shots, I should say. So like the reticle changes shape and changes color, so that's much nicer.
I feel like the graphic design, like the UI interface, stuff like that for first-person shooters has come a long way. Because like,
especially for Gears, like there's so much. One of the cool things is like when you start up the game, you get the main menu. You can go through the options. There's a ton of stuff. Like you can even turn off gore and profanity. You can turn that stuff off. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of stuff for accessibility, not only subtitle size and subtitles for hearing impaired, color blindness, like all your standard stuff. But when you go and start the game, they actually have the little icon of the adaptive controller, and if you hit a button on that, then it takes you to configuring your adaptive controller before you even get into the game, which is really great.
Yeah.
So I have had problems with Gears 5 of my save file getting corrupted. So I want to talk about that just to get the bad stuff out of the way. I started the game, got a little bit through like the first chapter. My Xbox One just turned off. That corrupted my save. I was able to reload it a couple times, and it worked fine.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier this morning, I started Act 2. I was like walking through, there's a town at the beginning of Act 2 you walk through. One of the gears, like, walk slowly, everybody's talking, that sort of stuff. Walked through there, I was watching some people talk to each other. I fell through the world. When I clicked reload checkpoint, it corrupted my save. So,
nice.
Thankfully they do this cool thing where you can pick your save slot, and then you can start over from a chapter you've already started. Mm-hmm. So I was able to start that chapter back over, and I lost like 2 minutes of progress. So that wasn't bad.
Did Kojima make this game at all? Because that sounds like a Kojima move.
Yeah, very much.
Reload from checkpoint, delete your save.
Yeah, like you got through outside of the world bounds. I'm sorry, like I have to delete your save. So far, I'm really, really enjoying Gears 5.
Things I'm hearing people talk about. Like, I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as I possibly can.
Please do.
I'll get to it when I get to it, but this is also, like, I'm assuming based off the size of Gears 4, probably about a 90 to 80 gigabyte game. So it's like...
On PC, it's... without the HD pack, it was like 75 gigs.
And I'm going to be on the X.
Yeah. It was like 45 gigs on my Xbox One, and the HD pack was optional. So,
and I'm on the X.
Who knows how big that one is? A little bit bummed about the beginning. It looks like there's 4 acts in the game. Little bit bummed about the first act, focusing primarily on JD. I think he's boring. I think he sucks. I don't want to play as JD. I want to play as Kate, who's the interesting one.
We know you don't like JD. You don't have to tell us again how much you hate JD.
Did I rag on JD during Gears 4?
You have ragged on him several times.
Yeah, he sucks. And he still sucks. Act 2, he sucks. He's boring. And I think Gears has always done a really great job of not featuring boring, regular-looking white dudes. And as the technology has allowed them to do more stuff, they've gotten much cooler and much better characters. And JD feels very much like, hey, what if we put Nathan Drake in our game? And that's boring.
He does kind of look a little bit like Nathan Drake, but Boston, he's got daddy issues.
Yes, I'm well aware that he has daddy issues.
Have daddy issues.
Yeah, pretty
100%. Yeah, it is very cool to see Marcus, old man Marcus, just at the beginning of the game running around with the rest of the crew. I think that's
so good in
really
4.
great.
Like, that chapter in 4 that has him in it was incredible. Yeah,
and he seems to be a staple through most of the game that I've played so far, where it's sort of like, yeah, you know, like you all liked Baird and you all liked Marcus, like they're gonna be around.
Accidental spoilers, if I'm right. I hope he dies.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think seeing Baird in a lab coat will never not be funny, because Baird is still the same size out of the armor, and seeing this gigantic mountain of beef wearing just a lab coat is sort of like, okay, sure, Dr. Baird.
I was gonna ask, did they keep him in the armor and just fashion a lab coat over the armor, or
no? He very much looks like he's wearing like civilian clothes underneath, and he's huge. Like he's just a big dude.
Well, the gears are genetically engineered. Like they are like
right.
I think it was actually in 4 when you go through like the maternity ward in 4. Like it talks about like how it's everybody's duty to have kids and
that's
get
right.
them in.
I had forgotten about that, and that came back in like the beginning of Gears, and I was sort of there's 2 videos you can watch. There's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe, that plays at the very beginning, which is like last time on Gears of War, and it's very much like, here's what happened in Gears 4. Remember these people? Probably not. All right, let's go. And then there's a much longer video that I haven't watched called The State of the World. And it's basically like, it seems like it's a much deeper look at, here's what happened on Sarah, and here's what happened throughout the Gears games.
Here's the infestation, here's E-Day, here's D-Day, here's G-Day, here's all the other days.
Here's the cogs and all that, yeah. I haven't watched that because I remember the high points. But yeah, that sort of came up, and I sort of forgot how much time had progressed between Gears 3 and Gears 4, that a bunch of stuff had happened. Yeah, and there's some stuff that they bring up in Gears 5 that we learn about in Gears 4. It's like, oh, right, okay, yeah, I remember that character, I remember what happened, like, I'm picking up what you're putting down. So I finished the first act, which really feels very much like, remember these characters, remember how to play Gears. The tutorial was ungodly long. Oh my god. But I finished it because I'm glad I finished it, because there's a new thing there where you can basically counter enemies that are coming over cover at you, which is kind of cool. And that seems to be a one-shot kill, which is fun.
Come on, is that the Y button prompt?
No, it's B, I believe. You don't see it a lot in campaign because no one's really coming at you. I saw it a bunch in Versus.
Dude, put that on insane mode and tell me that you don't see it a lot in campaign. I'm already not playing Gears super well on intermediate, so insane is a much further goal, I guess. I did play a bunch of Versus yesterday. I played their new arcade mode. Feels fine. Feels like Gears without people doing rolling shotties, which is great. That's all I would want. Give it a couple of weeks.
Based on how you purchase items in arcade mode, that's probably not going to be a problem. Because you got to do a bunch of stuff to get a shotgun, and then you get like 4 shots. So, it's a cool mode.
So the way to fix it was just to really, really make it hard to do it.
Yeah, or maybe like take out shotguns, because that's, as much as people say like, well, that's part of the game, it's not fun, and that's why people don't play it. So, I did start Act 2, and Gears 5 is an open world game.
Yep.
Which I did not believe the rumors.
I did not know until I saw Jeff Gessman tweet about it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
Seems pretty cool. You get a pretty interesting vehicle right off the bat in Act 2. Like a whole bunch of story stuff happens, and then you sort of get out in the world. It seems pretty interesting so far. I'm not too deep in because I was dealing with all the save corruption issues, and then before the show today, I wanted to spend a bunch of time with it on PC, and it runs like a dream on PC. I've got a 1060 6 gig for my video card, 1080p 60 frames, ultra quality, rock solid. 60 frames is the minimum. It's often running at like 100 to 120. Lighting is great. Everything looks really, really great on PC. And it obviously natively supports the Xbox controller. I have my Sport controller plugged in here, and it just worked fine. So Gears 5 feels really great. It feels like a brand new Gears game. It shoots as well as Gears has before. It doesn't seem to revolutionize how Gears is. I do like how much more you can do with Jack, that floating robot guy.
Ripper Jack.
Yeah, like there's a lot of open this door, please, Jack. I do like that Jack can go fetch weapons from across the battlefield now. That's really great. Cool. So like he's just carrying a boom shot back to you on one of his little arms. It just drops it on you. It's like, cool, now I have a boom shot. This is fantastic. So that feels really fun. He has a bunch of skills, like he has a little arm he can shock enemies with. He can heal you guys. I haven't unlocked very much of that. It seems like now they've gotten through the sort of prologue, the chapter 1 stuff, or the act 1 stuff, that stuff will start unlocking pretty quickly here. But so far it feels like Gears. And I think, like I said, it's been so long since Gears 4 that I'm pretty happy playing a new Gears game.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think the biggest... I mean, say what you want about the quality of them, but I think the best thing that Microsoft have been doing with their exclusives is they haven't been putting one out every year. Yeah. There isn't a new Halo game. There isn't a new Gears. They've got enough now. It feels like where they're cycling their stuff pretty well. So like it's been long enough for Gears where I kind of want to play a new Gears. Pretty soon it's going to be long enough since the last Halo that I played that I want to play another Halo. And it's always time for a Forza game.
Well, and that's the great thing about Game Pass, because I feel like, honestly, if this wasn't on Game Pass, I probably wouldn't be playing it anytime soon. Yeah. Just because $60 for the campaign that I'll play through maybe once. Maybe I'll play with some Horde with some of you guys, and there's a new escape mode that does not explain itself. I don't know what that is, so we might play that at some point. But like, I won't dive into it like I would dive into a lot of other games. So the $60 for that feels like it would be a little bit much for me, especially now that we're in video game season and there's so much stuff on the horizon. Jesus.
I mean, 3 out of my games.
Black Flag. Yeah. Or, not Black Flag. Jesus, Black Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, Black Fridays.
Black Friday. You can wait for Black Flag too. I mean,
yeah, Black Flag is great.
Piracy is an option. You shouldn't pick it, especially not when the options are. Yeah, piracy is an option.
Yeah, don't pirate.
But no, there's 3 of my games this week were from Game Pass, and Gears is another one that will be from Game Pass that I play because I have it on Game Pass.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm super happy that it is play anywhere, which is what they call cross save. So I can just hop up here on my PC, bring my controller, and just hop in, and I'm just where I was before. So that's been really great. I know if so my vanilla Xbox One X is 1080. My vanilla Xbox One is 1080p 30 frames. And that's rock solid. But I know on an X it's 4K 60 even in campaign, which I have seen some 60 frames footage of the X version, and that looks pretty great.
I'm looking forward to that, especially considering it probably also has HDR knowing this game.
I believe it does as well. Yeah, I don't know because I don't have an S, but Gears 5 seems really cool from first impressions, and I think I'm excited to see, now that I'm into what some of the open world stuff seems to be, I'm interested to see whether or not that works for Gears. Because I think that's a real experiment, because I think if you just come out with another Gears that's a 12-hour campaign and it's just one level after another, people would probably still be happy. But taking that next step and trying to evolve the Gears franchises, I think is probably a pretty smart choice at this point.
I actually had a question too, because I went completely dark on Gears. When you say that it's open world, when you go to an area, does it funnel you back down to basically hallways and corridors, or is it pretty much open world the entire time?
I'm not sure yet, because the first act, there's like 3 or 4 chapters in the first act. Mm-hmm. That's just a Gears campaign. Like, you're moving from, you have this one room, you fight a bunch of people undercover, and then there's a doorway over there that you through, and then you do sort of rinse and repeat for a couple hours. When it let me into the open world, like, I have a compass on the top of the map. It says there's a symbol and it says the place you're going to is 250 meters over this way. Go figure out a way to get there. And there have been a couple little things dotted on the landscape that I've been able to interact with so far, where it's like, oh, here's a rundown train depot that I can run into. There's like a shack on this lake that I pulled a retro long shot on, which seems to be a new weapon for Gears 5. Which is basically when you do a perfect reload, you get 2 shots in the chamber instead of 1, which seems very powerful. But as of so far, it seems pretty much like an open world map with, like, go to this place and then you'll probably play a Gears set of actions, and then it'll dump you back into the open world. Yeah. I'm assuming, but that's, like, I sort of ran out of time. I was like going to I was leading up to the place that I'm supposed to go, and I looked at the clock, and it's 1:30, and I was like, oh god, I gotta go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm probably like 5 minutes from figuring out what that is. But so far, Gears 5 seems pretty great. I haven't run into really any of the server issues that a lot of people have, but I feel like I've been lucky to just deal with save corruption issues. So thankfully I'm not getting given by both hands there. So, but that's all I've been playing this week. So let's take a break. Let's talk releases for the week of September 9th, 2019. Happy anniversary, Dreamcast. Gears 5 comes out on PC and Xbox One. That's the general access, I guess.
The bog standard edition.
Yeah, the I don't have Halo and Terminator stuff in it edition, so you probably win in the end. Greedfall...
Whoa, you can't diss that. Terminator, whatever. Halo, they look cool. But come on, man. Sarah Connor.
Alright, Sarah Connor looks cool. Stop putting Halo stuff in all my games. I don't want to play Halo. I don't like Halo. Stop putting in other stuff.
I'm the biggest Destiny fanboy ever, but I don't like the Bungie's original game, Halo, which was better.
Greedfall comes out for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. This is Spider's new game. You might not know of Spiders. They made Technomancer. So this is their colonialism game, which... 2019 seems like it might be problematic, but we will see. From an engine standpoint, looks like they've sort of taken the next step here, so that could be pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, they make sort of the same game over and over, and I don't think that's a bad thing, but they seem to get a little bit more money each time, so I feel like it's just a matter of time until they have like that one breakout game.
It's like the studio who made the XCOM games. Like, they made the same game for absolutely years, and then they made Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
As a side note, too, I am still playing Technomancer. It's just kind of fallen back because I'm trying to get caught up with everything else.
Yeah. Borderlands 3 comes out PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Any of us picking that up?
Nope. I am going to wait until either it's on deep sale or until I have some more expendable income.
Yeah.
This is bumped straight back in my list. Thank you, Mr. Pitchford.
And it's just coming out at such a bad time, too. Like,
Yeah.
Gears 5 is out, which is probably a game most of us would rather play in the short term anyways. And, like, coming out pretty soon is, like, Zelda Link's Awakening. So, like, I'm going to spend my money on that instead, so...
Death Stranding is out soon.
Yeah. God, that's right. I forgot. Oh, my God.
Everybody forgets about Death Stranding until a trailer drops, and then you're just like, WTF is Death Stranding.
I'm like looking forward to it and not looking forward to it at the same time, because the more stuff he shows off, I'm like, oh man, that's cheesy. That's weird. I don't know, man.
I mean, like developing mushrooms in the game?
Yes.
No, I'm just talking about like his continued questionable treatment of women.
Yep. There's also him talking about like how all of his friends are going to be in the game. And so like Jeff Keighley's in the game, obviously Guillermo del Toro's in the game, you've got the guy from The Walking Dead who I can never remember the name of is in the game, and Keanu Reeves just visited the studio, folks.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, let's scan you while you're in here and we'll put you in a game. By the way, I forgot to talk about this. I didn't realize that Control has a PS4 exclusive mission if you buy the season pass, where Hideo Kojima walks you through some sensory deprivation weird stuff, and that makes me really want the season pass. Not only because the game is really great, but that sounds bonkers in a way that I love.
I had a season pass.
Yeah, they've already announced two pieces of DLC. They both have names. They're both spoilers, so I can't say them. But if you look at the names, you like me, you'll go, "Oh my god, I want to play that."
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. The first one, by the way, is called...
Buy this and play it.
The first one's called Threshold. And I was like, yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
okay.
I want to play that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. We forgot to talk about the Black Rock place in Control as an amazing set piece.
Well, there's going to be a spoiler cast, so hang on to it. Make a note of it.
Well, I do have to say one bit of warning, and we probably should have said this at the beginning. If you have problems with flashing lights, please do not play Control. There's one enemy that just emits flashing lights, like a ball of flashing lights.
Yeah.
It's rough.
That
absolute epilepsy warning is no joke.
Yes, it is not. Also, I forgot the things they do with the light remaining after things go away is an amazing effect in that game. But moving on.
Yeah. Lighting is real great. Daemon Ex Machina comes out for Switch. There's a demo out now that features a bunch of the intro of the game, and your save will carry over into the full game.
Yep.
I just started the demo today.
Oh, cool.
And it feels like Armored Core.
Yeah. From what I understand, the original demo that they made for this, they received a lot of negative feedback about. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they fixed it all.
Yeah, I was really impressed by that original demo, because they came out and they're like, what do you think of our game? And people had a lot of thoughts about it, and they're like, okay, cool. That's why we did this demo, because we want to make the game really great. So we're going to work on all that stuff. And it sounds like they did. So great. Yeah. It wasn't just like a multiplayer demo or anything like that.
I'd say that the demo, I've only done the first mission that they give you, and the demo is pretty fun. There's still some things with like aiming that I'm having issues with. I don't know if it's the game or just me not figuring it out yet, but...
Or your left Joy-Con.
No, I'm using the Pro Controller.
There you go. Smart.
But yeah, I mean, like I started looking at some of the customizations you can do with your Mac, and it started getting real Armored Core real quick. Like, oh, yeah.
There we go. Yeah. And lastly, NHL 20 comes out on PS4 and Xbox One.
No thanks. I'm going to stay away from sports games for a while, because screw EA.
Because loot boxes.
Yeah.
Surprise mechanics, I'm sorry.
Yes, we do not view our loot boxes as gambling.
Yeah.
Go away with
Here's a slot machine.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to news stories. Typically, we don't talk that much about Nintendo Directs, because usually it's a couple of trailers for games we kind of already know are coming out. And except for this month, where it was just like 40 jam-packed minutes of crazy stuff that we haven't really seen before. So this got leaked a little bit, but Overwatch coming to Switch next year. It's being ported by Iron Galaxy.
They do good ports. I wasn't sure about Iron Galaxy, but they do good ports. The work they put in on Killer Instinct on the Xbox One was fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. Still no firm word on like cross-play and cross-save and progression and all that. So, I mean, if you're playing Overwatch already, you probably have a really great place to play it. So, not sure how much that impacts people, but something to keep an eye on. Super Nintendo games are now on the Switch. They sort of dropped like 20 games day one on Switch.
Yep, and they're changing their distribution method for Super Nintendo and NES games.
Yeah, which is a bummer, but
whatever.
It's not the end of the world. It's kind of... That was my expectation when they first came out. Instead of like releasing 2 games a month, they're just going to release a blast every once in a while, which probably means they'll never release any more for the rest of the Switch's life, which is fine. The majority of the NES and Super NES games you want are on the service already, so that's fine. Terry Bogard joins Smash. This was a really, really great trailer.
Yeah, I'm not an SNK fan. I've got no love for the series at all, but my word, was that amazing.
Yeah, just them putting the Smash envelope into a bunch of SNK stuff was really great. So they have also announced that, I guess the like season pass, fighter pass, I think they call it, was originally going to have 5 characters. They say, hey, those 5 characters are still going to come out, and then we're just going to keep putting out more after that. So
they don't have to make another Smash. They can just keep adding more.
Yep.
Who's the next crossover that you want to go in there? Go. We've already got Banjo-Kazooie. We've already got the Persona 4, 5.
You've already got like a ton of characters already.
I know. They need Goku.
Yeah, but who's missing?
They need Goku.
The F-Zero car.
Yeah, exactly. Put the Daytona car in there.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. Yeah, put the Daytona car in there.
I mean, that's how much of the bottom of the barrel we're at with this, which I'm fine with, but...
Sure. Well, I don't really think we're at the bottom of the barrel. I think we're now, like... I'd like to see, like, Kasumi from Dead or Alive come in there. Like, see some other, like, big characters from... Get Soul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear in there. Like you said, Moon, get Goku in there. Like, start getting, like, the tentpole characters from all these other franchises, and then you can do your B tier, then your C tier, and then Smash has 400 characters in it.
But then it stops being a Smash game and just kind of turns into its own thing, which I'm fine with.
That's what I want.
It's basically a free-for-all of whatever franchise you can think of.
It's like Mugen. It just has every character in it. Yeah.
Honestly, if they made a Shonen Jump, if Nintendo made a Shonen Jump game, and just took all the Nintendo people out and just did a Shonen Jump game, and it was the style of Smash, I'd be down. Forget about the Shonen Jump game that just came out. Make me a Smash Shonen Jump, please.
Yeah, just start putting everybody in there, man. Whatever.
I think my favorite description was you can tell you should be able to decide who you want to get added into Smash by who you want Kirby to impersonate.
Yes.
Like, that's the most important thing. Like, when Kirby impersonates Banjo-Kazooie, he has a plush version of Kazooie.
It's really good.
It's a really good touch.
Yep, it's really great. Atlas announced Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore is coming to Switch. Thankfully, like, the last Wii U game that wasn't on Switch is coming out. It's coming out January 17th. I already have it pre-ordered because I'd like to finish that fantastic game that I didn't finish because it was on the Wii U.
Yes. I did see, I think you retweeted the text message thing about this game. Which is like the reason why this game is one of the reasons it's so amazing is because people text like they actually talk. It's like, I'm done studying with my 2 classes for tomorrow, so I'm going to go to bed early. We got 3 tests tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a really cool game that sort of takes a lot of stuff. It very much seemed like a tech demo for what Persona 5 was going to be, and it still very much feels like that, but it's pretty cool. It takes some stuff from Fire Emblem, some stuff from Shin Megami Tensei, and sort of mixes them up. And it's a cool game. I'm really looking forward to playing it again.
Were they adding anything to this, or was this just a straight?
Yeah, it's like there's another dungeon, a new character, a new song.
Okay.
And some other minor stuff.
Golden version of it, then.
Yeah, basically. Like, but I don't think it's going to be significant enough content to really matter. It's just, hey, it's on a platform you want to play stuff on now.
Yeah.
So,
wonder how they're going to do a lot of that stuff though too, because they use the Wii Pad in that pretty heavily.
Yeah, and it was a lot of like Musum reminded me yesterday during PUP that they used it primarily for dungeon layout. So they'll probably do a lot like how they did on Persona 5, where it's like press the select button and here's the dungeon map that pops up. So nothing too major. I think the text message stuff went on that screen too, but that could be a sub menu pretty easily. That was also
what I was thinking of, but because I played and beat it, I was probably the only one who did on the Wii U.
Yeah, you and Musum are the only two people that finished it. Yeah. There was a Deadly Premonition announcement that I think all of us had the Jeff Gerstmann response. It's like, oh yeah, Deadly Premonition is on Switch now. It's Deadly Premonition 2? Whoa!
Yeah. Like, so if
Deadly
you haven't
Premonition...
seen that GIF, like, or that video of them watching it, especially, I can't remember who it was, but one of the Giant Bomb superfans posted basically the replay, which captures the chat at the same time.
Yes, yeah.
It's great. Just seeing Jeff's reaction, everybody else's reaction, the chat going bonkers.
Chat going,
Ben sitting in the corner laughing like a supervillain.
Yeah, very much what happened in our Discord server, too, where it's like, Deadly Premonition, do what? So, yeah, A Blessing in Disguise has been announced, which is not the sequel I thought we would ever see, because... if there's ever a video game called classic, the first Deadly Premonition is that.
Thank God for Jim Sterling.
Yeah, Jim Sterling, Deadly Premonition superfan, probably had a lot to do with that. They also announced the first Deadly Premonition is out on Switch now. I think they call it Deadly Premonition Origins.
Yeah.
Does have a really nasty audio bug right now, which they're trying to fix. So
it's the first game.
Yeah, basically. It's so funny because like the first game had a low budget, and like when they re-released it on PS4, the frame rate was wrong and the audio was wrong, and now like the Switch has frame rate okay and the audio is wrong. It's a game that can't just come out and be right. So
yeah,
but yeah, go play Deadly Premonition. Twin Peaks the game. It's weird, it's bad, and it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, I watched the playthrough. I think I watched the Giant Bomb play. I've never actually played it myself because that game is literally insane, and I've never seen Twin Peaks. Yeah,
you don't have to have seen Twin Peaks. It's a really great game. That does not look like it is as good as it is. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition coming to Switch in 2020. This is not the Wii U game. This is the Wii game that I really, really liked. Looks like they have graphically made a significant improvement on this, and you don't have to play the 3DS version with that dumb little nub or anything now. So I'm excited to see how people feel about that game. I think that's a really, really great JRPG, and not enough people played it because it sort of didn't come out here, really.
I had nothing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There was a bunch of screenshots too showing that it looked like they used the Xenoblade 2 Chronicles engine for it. Because the characters look a lot more like those characters in the original.
Yeah.
This is one of those games that I picked up. I actually imported this from Saudi Arabia so I could play it, and got halfway through it and then just kind of lost my
I had a community member buy this for me in the UK.
Yep,
and
I remember that.
I paid them and they shipped it over to me, and I still have the giant box. I think it came with a controller too. I still have that somewhere here. That game's great. I played a lot of that game. I played like 100 hours of that game and did not finish it. There's a lot in that game. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Divinity Original Sin 2 is available on Switch now. That's a game I still need to play, and I hear this port is actually really pretty good. So, maybe someday. I gotta play these games. Bethesda is re-releasing Doom 64, which is
of course
unironically a really great Doom game. Quake 64 was pretty good too. So I'm glad they're re-releasing it so it's not sort of lost to the sands of time, but I'm not sure I'll be picking that up anytime soon because Doom Eternal comes out pretty soon. God. And Return of the Obra Dinn comes out to the Switch this fall. It's also coming to PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that. Wasn't that originally a 3DS game?
No, just Switch. Switch and Itch, I think.
Okay.
Not Switch. Steam and Itch.
Yeah. Honestly, I cannot wait for that thing to come to consoles. Like,
that's on our Game Club list.
Yep. I really want to play it.
Yeah.
Are people really calling the Switch Itches now?
No, I just...
Oh, I was going to say...
No, itch.io.
The internet.
No, itch.io is the other platform. Itch... Thankfully, Itch is getting much, much, much bigger because it is very friendly to creators.
Yeah, it's the third platform, fourth platform, fifth platform on Steam. On PC, I should say.
Next news story, genuinely surprising. Akumi Nakamura, after her breakout performance at E3 and sort of stole everybody's hearts, has left Tango Gameworks. She was the director of Ghostwire Tokyo. She's, her and Keanu Reeves and I guess that dog were like the three breakout hits of E3. And surprisingly, she has decided to leave Tokyo Gameworks.
I'm curious.
Tango Gameworks, sorry.
I'm curious about this one because I know she's being basically groomed by... I forgot his name.
That guy, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's worked closely with him for a number of years.
She's essentially being groomed as like his successor creatively, so I'm actually very curious to see what she goes out and does. And I also love how much love she gets on the internet. Like, unabashedly how great she is. Like, I can't remember if it was that announcement or something else, but someone posted the whole knight covering a princess kind of thing with a big shield while getting arrows behind. And she responded to that, like, because they were like, "Oh yeah, we've got to protect her," and she responded to that with, "Please reverse that," because her face was on the woman,
right?
And then someone took whoever posted that picture's Twitter profile, put that face on the woman, and put her face on the giant knight holding this huge shield, and she was like,
I like her response was, "That's better." Yeah. Yep. Her tweet was, "After 9 years as creative director and art director at Tango and ZeniMax, I felt here as one of ends of the journeys. I learned from the talented people I worked with and I respect. Contact me if anyone wants to work with me." And she links her LinkedIn profile. so I think that's genuinely surprising. It seemed to me like, after all the positive buzz from this show, including coming out of Ghostwire Tokyo from E3, that she'd sort of shepherd that to the finish line. And I'm not sure if she had finished her work on that or what, but seemed pretty sudden. Shinji Mikami, the other guy.
I'm hopeful someone snaps her up quick.
Yeah, like I want to see someone like Platinum, like a company that's making cool, fun, different stuff. Like, put her on a project and just let her go and just say, like, make whatever you want to make. Just make something crazy.
How many new studios do Microsoft have?
15. I don't know.
Throw a bunch of budget at one of them, get a second team in there, and give her a lead. Yep.
Yeah. Let her make cool, weird stuff.
Yeah.
More cool, weird stuff. I mean, she already worked on Evil Within 1 and 2. So
yes. Underrated games if there ever were them.
Yeah. Speaking about cool, weird stuff, Ed McMillan has announced the release date for The Legend of Bumbo, which is the Match 3 cardboard-based prequel to the Binding of Isaac, coming out November 12th on Steam.
You missed out the part that it's a Match 3 roguelike, by the way.
Yeah, Match 3 roguelike. Sorry, I just said Match 3. But yes, it's got a lot of stuff in it. And
Edmund, you crazy person.
The trailer they released graphically looks significantly better than some of the early stuff. That's a really cool looking game. So I'm pretty excited to pick that up when it comes out. And since it's not coming to consoles yet, we don't have to support Nicholas, which is really great.
Yay!
So November 12th, we'll play that and see if we can squeak that into our end of the year stuff. But
no is my answer to that.
Yeah. Probably not. We'll at least say, like, honorable mention. It's great. There's so much game there. And last news story here, I am sad to announce that Puzzle Quest is heading to Switch.
Yep. Have fun with the rest of your life, Switchies.
Yeah. September 19th for $15. Basically, it is the first Puzzle Quest plus the expansion that already came out, plus a new expansion, and what looks like a graphical overhaul. So if you've never played Puzzle Quest 1 is still probably really great, and now they're adding just a ton more content in there. And it's kind of unfortunate because the first Puzzle Quest was really great, and you kind of can't play it anywhere. The mobile versions don't really work anymore. Yeah. The old versions on like Xbox 360 probably do, but it's not backwards compatible. So
isn't it? I thought I saw it on the download list for 360 titles.
The second one might be, but the second one, I didn't like the second one as much.
Yeah, I've heard not great things about the second one.
Yeah.
You know how like everybody has like that, like especially if you listen to podcasts like I do, everybody you associate certain games with certain people. Like for example, if I think Destiny 2, I think Boston. If I think Elite Dangerous, I think Nimp.
Right.
You know, if I think,
or problem games.
Yes. If I think Puzzle Quest, I think of Mackie over BMF/No Quarters.
Oh, okay.
And I find it funny that he literally recently bought a Switch, and then suddenly Puzzle Quest comes out on Switch.
Suspicious timing.
He's responsible, or it's a destined to doom him kind of thing.
Right. It's going to follow him anywhere.
Yes. It follows. Literally.
Yeah. Let's move on to questions here. T-Bomb Rocks in Discord says, with the next Yakuza game switching from action to turn-based combat, has me wondering, can you think of a series that has had such a large change in either combat or mechanics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Final Fantasy, going to tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every single Final Fantasy mainline numbered release with the amount that changes from combat system to engine to everything.
It does change from release to release, but I think tactics is probably
the biggest
shift. Yeah.
The XCOM third-person shooter game.
The Bureau?
That's the one.
Oh wow, I completely forgot about that.
I've always meant to go back and play that because I've heard it's good. Like it's obviously not the best game in the world, but I heard it's pretty fun.
Let me tell you about 2019's version of that. Control.
I was just about to say, like, now I'm thinking about it, that's just Control, so I guess I played that game already.
Ratchet and Clank did a lot of that stuff, too, once they started getting towards the end, before PS4.
Yeah, there were those experimental games they released on PS3, like the Quest for Booty and
Quest
something
for
else.
Booty, All for One. They had Vita ones.
They had that party game.
I was gonna say they had a. I think it was a tower defense game, if I remember correctly, that came out for the Vita. I don't remember what they called it.
Yeah, they had that one game that came out and I never remember. Jak and Daxter 1 to 2.
Oh, the worst transition in video game history ever. Carry on, like, move along.
1 is just like a character action platformer. Like that's a PS2 game through and through, and the second one really wanted to be an open world GTA game, and that couldn't have been a stranger worse jump.
The second one
became a kart racer, didn't it? After that?
Jak X.
Did, yes. It's almost like the second one got involved with like professional wrestling at some point because it just had so much of that Attitude Era thing suddenly.
Very much so.
The second one, just like okay, sure.
I got another one. Anything Mario.
Yeah.
You've got your core game, but then you've got Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, Olympics, Mario Party.
Well, and even
Dr. Mario,
even mainline stuff too, where it's like Super Mario Land. The first game on Game Boy is significantly different from either game that's on other ends.
Yeah, and you got 64, which is a game changer. You got Sunshine, which is underrated.
Yeah,
Galaxy, which was another game changer.
Yeah. That's a good one. Boy, what else? I don't know if there's anything else I can think of that's like... I'm trying to think of, like, anything modern that's sort of like... The first game was a first-person shooter, and then the second one was, like, a turn-based adventure game.
Oh, Bionic Commando. They somehow turned a 2D side scroller into a 3D character action game, which was actually surprisingly incredible.
Wife carrying simulator.
No spoilers, please. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'd spoil the hell out of that game because it has already been spoiled and you shouldn't play it.
Well, I guess another one too would be Metroid, going from Metroid to Metroid Prime.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Boy, Metroid Prime is good.
Never played it.
They're really good.
They probably still hold up. They were revolutionary when they came out because it's like, oh, okay, here's another Metroid. Oh, it's in first person and it works? Oh no. Like this is really good. Yeah, that's a good call. I keep trying to think of games like that where it's maybe Zelda 1 to Zelda 2. Like Zelda 2 is significantly different from 1 and Link to the Past.
I can tell you one that had a really impressive shift and then changed back to the old style and then back to the new style again. The Castlevania series.
Yeah.
They went 2D, 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 2D. Castlevania 64 came out. 2D, 2D,
Whoops.
2D. Lords of Shadow came out.
Well, they had the 3D ones on PS2 that were good. Yeah, those two were good. But like the first Lords of Shadow I still really like that game.
It's a great game.
I remember the PS2 ones having like camera issues where you're trying to jump.
Yeah.
I remember a corridor with spikes popping out of the floor, and you had to turn around in one area to get down the hallway. And I remember the camera being such a pain in the butt in that specific area.
Yeah, very much like of that era where it's like, we haven't figured out cameras yet, sorry.
Speaking of, it's kind of similar vein, but changed enough to the point where everybody decided they loved it, then hated it, then loved it again. Resident Evil.
Yeah.
3 to 4. 4 somehow changing the game, then everybody hated 5 and 6.
Yeah.
7 is amazing.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Resident Evil Outbreak. And how it's the perfect time for them to put out another one of those. Because it's a co-op, online-only, multiplayer Resident Evil game. And they were good
about,
on
like, the old PlayStation version.
Yeah, like the PS2 ones. Like, those were good games. They were just so early.
Was the only reason the PlayStation 2 had a network adapter that nobody bought.
No, Amplitude had online stuff.
Oh, did it?
It did, yeah.
I'm assuming you're also forgetting that they tried this on the 360.
Which one was that?
There is a Resident Evil multiplayer, like Umbrella Core or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the exact same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Except it didn't have the main characters. It just had, faceless Umbrella.
I was going to say, and I think Umbrella Core is more of a shooter, and this one was more of the RE2, RE3
tank controls,
style.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember they had like 8 different characters you could pick from, and it would depend on where you started in the map, what items you started with.
You had like the text chat with like the D-pad, and you're like holding different directions to say, I found red herbs here.
Dude, that D-pad
that was a cool game.
Or that text box thing that you could attach, that was ridiculous.
Yeah. Those were the days. T-Bomb Rocks asks us another question. What's the dumbest or least illogical reason you've refused to play a game? I've got to have one of these.
Least logical. I've got plenty logical ones.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't have money for games, and then I go out and buy a different game.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of the ones, like, I put my foot down for Forza 7 when it originally came out, even though I was excited because that had loot boxes in it. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense for that game, so I'm not going to play that.
No, it makes sense.
Dumb or illogical reasons. I feel like there's got to be one where it's like...
I've got one from my wife.
Okay.
Because she doesn't believe me, / I need to finish my side of the bet.
Oh, sure, yeah. I feel like there has to be...
The thing is, like, if it's hard for us to tell what we think is our dumbest or illogical choice because we made the choice, so we don't think it's dumb or illogical.
Well, there has to be one of those games where you look at it and it's sort of like, I'm not going to play that. Like, I don't care how much people really love it. there's just something about like character design or something that just seems dumb.
The Vita game that's now on the PlayStation, that game looks amazing. Famously made a terrible name for itself because the character design specifically on women is horrendously sexist. You know
Dragon
the game
Crown?
I'm talking about. That's the one, I believe.
Yeah, that's a really great game with terrible art content.
Until you got to the women part, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right. I love that game, but yes, the art style is great. The art content is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've got one for Boston.
Okay.
He won't play Resident Evil 7 because he's a big wuss. That's just not logical at all. That's kind
I feel like that's rational, but maybe not logical.
It's called knowing your limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If there's DLC in that game where like you turn a corner and a unicorn cop pops out and says like "Let's be friends," I'll play that. Yeah,
hey, in Resident Evil 2 PC, you can mod Mr. T so that he is Thomas the Train.
Yeah,
that's true.
With the theme song.
That's right.
What more do you want?
I've watched that show so much. I'm not sure if I ever want to hear that theme song again.
Yeah, hear it in terror now.
Yeah.
I grew up with that stupid show.
Stupid mayor. You're the worst mayor.
Yeah,
What else? So the hard part about this is I feel like the three of us, even if we weren't on the show, are naturally inclined to try something, especially with Game Pass being out. It's like, let's try this dumb thing with a goat screaming in a shopping cart. It's like, oh, okay, that's actually pretty good. Where I think some people, maybe not incorrectly, would look at the cover art on that and be like, I don't want to play that at all. That looks stupid.
Because I have stuff where, like, it just depends on my mood. Like, recently I haven't been wanting to play, dark games.
Right.
Just because I'm not in the mindset for that. But recently I've been talking with a lot of other people, and I've kind of started wanting to play Dark Souls again.
No.
So...
No, don't go down that rabbit hole.
I don't know. They've got the trilogy set for $69, which comes with all 3 games and the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a pretty good deal, actually. No, wait, no.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to go completely dumb and illogical, I can give you one thing for me, is because I don't want to get sucked into trying to get every achievement on a game. Which is dumb and illogical. And I shouldn't think that way, but I can't help but think that way. Like, for example, I have Watch Dogs 2. I have it ready to play.
Yeah, Watch Dogs is good.
I know it's meant to be fantastic, and I want to play it before I play Legion.
Right.
But guarantee that and Alien Isolation and 20 other games that are like 50 gigs and bigger are taking up space on my hard drive because it's like, if I click start on it, it's going to be on my gamer card, and then I have to play it, and then I have to get the achievement.
You got to get that 100%. Yeah.
I got to go for it at least. There are a couple which I'm never going to get to, so that's fine.
Yeah, like multiplayer achievements and stuff,
I'm slowly breaking myself of the need for 100%, but if I can do it, I'd like to go for it.
Sure.
Wasn't that hard for me to break that need when I saw, wait, you want me to do what? How many times now?
Yeah, like Watch Dogs 2 was a good one for me, where it's like, you want me to play how much multiplayer? No.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, but no. Yeah, I can't really think of too much other stuff because I feel like anything we're not going to play is in genres we're not going to play. Like, I'm not going to pick up a sports game unless it's like a sports management game.
Play FIFA with us.
I don't want to play FIFA. I want to play Football Manager. I don't want to play the football. I want to manage the football.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mutant League Football Manager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually Football Manager is on Game Pass for PC.
It is. It 100% is, because I saw that and I was like, oh, really?
Oh, no. Tune in next week for visual novels and Football Manager.
Yo.
When Boston starts complaining about macros and Excel sheets.
That's right. Yeah. All right, and our final question here from Maximus Prime in Discord says, I've gone from super excited to not buying Borderlands 3. I think he's joining the three of us. It's not because the game itself, but my increased excitement for Gears 5 and Destiny Shadowkeep. Are there any games you decided to pass on because of other games released around it? If so, did you regret not playing it at release? Well, the regret part is a good part. Good question.
Yeah. Alien Isolation. I had how long it was, and didn't start that because at the same time as that came out, a whole bunch of other stuff came out, and it kind of just got pushed to the side. Because if I remember right, that was also a January release, which means it was probably a birthday present that I still haven't played.
Right. I think for me, Division 1 is always a regret, because the game
improved so much.
Yeah, and it improved pretty quickly too, but like Destiny 1 pulled me in, and like that was like the battle line being drawn at the time was like, are you in the Division camp or are you in the Destiny camp? And I always really regretted, especially as much as I loved Division 2.
Yeah.
Like I really regret not picking up and playing Division 1.
So I don't think I really have anything that I can think of. Because a lot of my reasoning for not picking up a game is mostly I'm not going to get the chance to play it, so I might as well wait.
Yeah.
Well, I do that reasoning too, and that lasts all of about 5 minutes, and then I just buy it anyway, and then don't play it.
You get tired, and you just buy it from the dashboard.
My logical thing from last chat, don't have the money, buy different game.
Right. In a weird way, I sort of hope that happens with Borderlands 3, because I would really like, for the next, 2 months of gaming coverage, for everyone to say, hey, Borderlands 3 is really great. The end game is really great. There's just a ton of content. And everybody's really playing it. I would love for that to happen with Borderlands 3, where it's oh, man, I'm playing Shadowkeep, but boy, Borderlands 3 looks really great.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest fear with Borderlands 3, and quite a real fear for me, Borderlands 1 was about 40 hours.
Yeah.
If going through it at a decent pace, about 40 hours.
And then they trickled out all the DLC, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah. Borderlands 2 was about 80 hours.
Yeah.
Going through it, and because I'm a completionist. If you give me a side quest, I'm going to go do it. I don't care.
A lot of them are fun in Borderlands.
Yeah. How long have they been developing Borderlands 3 for? Just read the
worlds this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got 600 hours I can put into another game right now.
Right. Yeah.
That's my regret. Having to be a dang grown-up and get a dang job to pay the dang bills.
Yeah.
I have that time. I'm just soaking it all into RPGs right now.
Yeah. Gotta get while the getting's good. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I sort of always regret never getting into Warframe, but I feel like...
Oh, you would lose yourself
you can start
in that
today.
hole.
Yeah, I feel like that rabbit hole is so deep now that I'm glad I didn't.
Join us. Join us all. Come on.
I will not join you in space.
Come on.
The space is dangerous and elite.
My text message is the... Oh crap! What do they call the AI for your ship? Cephalon?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, is him saying, "Operator, the system needs you." Every time I get a text, just to remind me how much I enjoy that AI.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any big games. I feel like there's probably this sprinkling of games over the last, especially 5 years, where it's all right, 5 games that are incredible are coming out every month. I can only get to one of them. Which ones am I regrettably going to miss?
Yeah.
Or which ones could you potentially get spoiled on before the rest of them?
Yeah,
That's
that was
I've been playing for the last 4 years.
Yeah, that was honestly a big impetus for me for picking up Control as well, where it's I really, really need to play this game before any of it gets spoiled, and I'm
my wife took a break from it and sat down today and be I need to play this because apparently everybody is beating this game.
Yeah, just finish it.
I need to.
Yeah, just wrap it up. Mechanical Beacon chat says Sleeping Dogs waited too long to play this gem. Yeah, I don't think I played that at release, but I think pretty quickly nobody would shut up about how incredible it is. It's okay, fine, I'll pick it up. Oh, whoops, it's actually really great.
Yep. Thank you, Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny Caravella, Sleepy Dogs fan number one.
There's games with specific people: Deadly Premonition, Jim Sterling; Sleepy Dogs, Vinny Caravella; Dota, Brad, even though he doesn't play it anymore.
Right.
He says he doesn't play it anymore.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Jeff Gersman.
Right. the best of games. Yeah. All right, that's all of our questions for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for sending them in. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. We had a banger of an Outcast this week, so the $2 and up level is where you can get that. $5 a month is my recommended one, because that gets you everything. And it's only $5 a month. Super cheap. Game Club is still going on right now. BAFTA award-winning Thomas Was Alone. We Roguelike It. If you're not listening to that, each one of those episodes isn't super long. So you can knock those out. We have a really great time every time, and then a bunch of scientists come in and rank the best roguelikes of all time in an infallible list. So certainly has not caused any fights whatsoever.
Nope. No.
Yeah. I think that's it. If you're not listening to Old Dog New Flicks, you really should. It's really great. The public feed and the Patreon feed both have episodes on it right now.
Yep. We did have a rough sketch in our heads because we select the movies ahead of time, obviously. What we're going to watch. Let's just say that the upcoming schedule has been wibbly-wobbly all over the place right now. So
okay.
The upcoming movie is still going to remain the same. It's still, this month's movie is Lost Boys. Mm-hmm. The upcoming ones after that, everything's up in the air again now. It's exciting. We had a discussion, and there is timing that we would like to do, so we're going to go with that instead.
Okay. That makes sense. Sure. Yeah. So go listen to that public feed. And for anyone that's not a patron, I don't really take anything off of Patreon. So you get your own audio feed as part of Patreon, and it has a lot of stuff up there. So if you want to listen to some back episodes, like you'll never miss anything. Mm-hmm. So go check that out. And that's our episode this week. We'll see you all next week.
Ta-ta.
Later.
Don't know why I went with Tatar, but Tatar it is. Especially considering Tatar means something over else here.
Yeah. Okay, hit me with your titles, Mr. the Nimp.
Alright. I have Xbox Was Dead by Friday. What I Spend Blood Points On. And we will just call him. Long pause.
What I Spend Blood Points On sounds like a 90s goth rock band.
Yeah.
It's all shotguns and snipers. Push it in a demon's face and pull. Ooh.
The whale noise. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I refuse to look. My wife is legally required. Easy, brick wall. Time moves when you shriek. Super not. Chef's kisses. Nobody expects the Street Fighter movie. If you're a Pearl Jam fan. Hashtag just dog things. Photo more. Because you meant to say photo mode.
Mm-hmm.
And horrible series of scenes. I couldn't remember if you said scenes or photos.
I don't remember. Moon, how about you?
Easy brick wall. A pen flashlight. Pretty please, which is me begging you to play Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Woods Dark, which is a very strange thing. Random words and control. They don't explain Jack. This is probably going to get a veto, but I had to write it down. Wet meat slapping against wet meat.
It's going to get a veto, but it's got a certain punch to it.
Yes.
Certain
A through Z Day. Destined to doom him. Wife carrying simulator. And from Nimp, my wife is legally required.
I've got all this red stuff. Void something. Jib all over the place. You can play this game with a microphone. My vote for this week, Time Moves When You Shriek. Woods Dark. Still blessing toilets. That one's good. My wife is legally required. Nobody expects the Street Fighter movie, which is also really good. Mm-hmm. And easy brick wall.
Honestly, I think there's 3 solid contenders there.
Time Moves When You Shriek, legally required, and Street Fighter movie.
Yeah. Maybe 4. My wife is legally required is pretty good as well.
Yep.
Okay, so scratch them off one by one. Legally required is solid, but I think any other week that might take it. I don't think it takes it this week.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's the weakest of the 3. It's really good.
Yeah, I think it's Time Moves When You Shriek or it's Nobody Expects the Street Fighter movie. It's one of those 2. I can't call it. I literally can't.
I'm backing the Street Fighter movie.
I was voting for Time Moves When You Shriek.
They're both so solid. Like Time Moves When You Shriek is pretty great.
Moon, you have to make a choice. You're the tiebreaker.
I would vote more for Time Moves When You Shriek because I think it's less of a good reveal in episode than the Street Fighter movie part.
Yeah, because I mean I think you make a very good point here because me explaining that achievement to you guys and looking at you guys in Skype, you guys are both like, "What are you talking about?
It's like, what are you talking about?
Like,
yeah,
what's this reference?" And then it drops, and it's a great reaction. So
yeah,
I think I'd rather give that in the title. It's gonna.
Yeah, I'd rather bury that lead. It sounds like we're voting for Time Moves When You Shriek, then.
Honestly, the Street Fighter one would take it, but I do think it's a better in-episode reveal.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, let me circle Time Moves When You Shriek.
I already know what I'm going with.
Winners all.
You're not going to scream into the mic, are you?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. As the editor, thank you. Let me know when you guys are ready.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 620 for September 9th, 2019. Time Moves When You Shriek.
Super not.
Insert goat scream here. You know what one I'm talking about.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And thank you very much, everyone, except for, like, 2 dudes in Mixer. I know you're dudes. Stop being like that. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
It has gotten so hot in here.
Yep.
It's been so nice for the last couple of days.
I'm waiting for the You Can Stop Recording.
Oh, yeah, I guess we can do that.